What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. Tonight is just two of us, the best two hosts of the podcast, I feel personally.
This is like classic edition right here.
Exactly, this is classic edition, plus my terrible hair. I'm sorry this evening, I'm going to be wiping it out of my face a lot. It just won't
You had to
stay.
talk about your hair. You had
It
to.
won't stay. I can't help it. I just wanted to explain to everybody because someone's going to leave some really annoyed comment about how I won't stop messing with it.
That's also possible.
That voice you hear is none other than Dave, the not so evil Viking 13.
Not quite so evil.
And myself, Germ Gaming. So tonight, it's just the two of us, so you know what we're going to talk about? Guns. Actually, I don't think we have any gun news to talk about. But I just feel like we should because there's only
two of us. You put me on the spot here. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, like you have nothing to talk about with guns.
AKs are finally back to $500. Semi-auto AKs. I am super excited.
Freedom approves. The Eagle salutes you.
And I'm not quite so jealous of Canada and their super cheap SKSs because SKSs here in the US have recently hit about $300 again. Still higher than Canada, unfortunately, but
I plan on getting one.
Still?
At some point. Yeah,
not at some point.
Not
Okay.
immediately. Yeah. I need to wait till we move and stuff. But yeah, I definitely plan on getting one.
It's hard to beat an SKS. I mean, it's reliable. It's a very common caliber. There you go.
I've been enjoying it in DayZ, that's for sure. It's a pretty beefy gun, and I like pretty much everything about it. So, yeah.
Personally, that's how I select firearms: is Call of Duty, DayZ, Battlefield.
Yeah, whatever I enjoy the most in DayZ,
basically.
I figure they've put so much care into modeling it must be accurate.
I've got 2 tax stamps in for my SRAW at the moment. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, thank you, Noah. He says my hair is sexy. I guess I said thank you a little too quickly, but whatever. Oh, all right. First bit of news. I haven't bought the last couple Humble bundles just because, like, I haven't that crazy about some of the games. But did you see the one that came out today?
What was it? Today was the farming?
The Humble weekly sale. Bridge Project, Train Simulator 12, Trains with a Z. Trains with a Z. Euro Truck Simulator, Wildlife Park 3. I don't know why they call it a zoo.
Okay.
It seems like that's called a zoo. Agricultural Simulator, Agricultural Simulator 2013, Agricultural Simulator, Historical Farming. Guys,
this is happening so hard.
if I get a couple demands for a Let's Play of what's it called again? Agricultural Simulator, Historical Farming, I will Let's Play that so hard you don't even know. And then there's Pool Nation. And if you pay $10 or more, you get Professional Farmer 2014, which I'm guessing is a game where you just go get government handouts for a couple hours.
Oh, it's so new, too. It's 2014 edition.
Oh, so it's definitely the government handouts.
Okay, I have a confession here for a moment about the last Humble Bundle.
All right.
The one
that came with Sid Meier's Trains.
Sid Meier's Humble Bundle. That thing came with. It was like $9.50 too, which was a bit high for the Humble Bundle.
That's a bit steep for 8 games. Suck at consoles.
Consoles. Yeah. Okay. It came with like Civ 4, Civ 5, all of the Civ 4 expansion packs, just stupid amounts of stuff. But like you mentioned, it came with Sid Meier's freaking Railroads, and I was like, okay, I like trains as a kid. Somewhere I still have model train sets boxed up. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I have now this is like more of a confession, I think, at this point. In the last week and a half, I have put 23 hours into Sid Meier's Railroads. I conquered the world.
You need to upload that short little clip you sent us of when you reached like empire status with your railroad, where the money was just raining from the sky.
It's just constant coin sounds like ching 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 ching.
That's racist, Dave.
Honestly, I've had more fun with Railroads than I ever did with SimCity last year. I put hundreds of hours into SimCity, and in the end, I'm like, it was an okay experience. But Railroads, I'm like, holy crap, this game is so much fun.
Still waiting for SimCity to hit the $5 mark. I guess I'll just keep waiting. No, I'll just wait until offline mode is officially released and someone cracks it. I'm just kidding.
Is that still not out?
I don't think so, no. Speaking of Electronic Arts things that you thought were out already, Battlefield 4 Platoons roll out on February 27th. If you're like me, you probably assumed that Platoons carried over from Battlefield 3, because why on earth wouldn't they? But since it's obvious that this game was not ready to actually be released, did you know the Platoons weren't out yet? I honestly thought Platoons...
I actually tried to get into the Platoons beta.
What? The Platoons beta? What is there to have a beta for? They already had Platoons. The last game had Platoons. All they had to do was take the Platoons and put them into this game.
Actually, one of the Battlelog devs talked on Reddit about why Platoons are so late, so far after launch. Basically, the Battlelog team wasn't moved to Battlefield 4 until almost exactly 1 year before the launch date. They were given a laundry list of requested new features for Battlelog, and they basically said, okay, to get all this new stuff in, we can't even look at Platoons, and the Platoon system required a complete ground-up rewrite.
Seriously? Why would that require a ground-up rewrite? The games run on similar engines, and they both use Battlelog.
Yeah, well, Platoons I don't think are that deeply integrated, but there was basically an issue with how they had written the original version, where it was going to be future-looking, it was going to be too intensive to maintain it, and they said, okay, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right, we have to scrap it and redo it, but it's not a priority for launch. So yeah, that kind of sucked. And it is one of those things where you're like, why? Like, really, guys?
Well, that's the thing. Okay, it's okay if it wasn't ready, but that's why you shouldn't release games that you haven't finished. It's like, we can't have it done in time. All right, maybe we'll wait until next year and release the game once we've actually made the entire game. That's okay. We'll just release this core feature that people have been using for 2 years. We'll release that later, like 5 months later.
And, it's gonna suck for the Battlelog devs too, because I'm sure they put extra effort into it, and they just launched this thing. From what I understand, like they finished developing it like a few weeks ago. So, like many DICE things recently, it was barely tested, which is why there was like a Platoon quick beta test. And it's gonna be kind of sucky for them. Like they put all that work into it, and there's not much to show for it. It's just like Platoons are working again after 4 months.
Well, there's some features. You can have a rank in your platoon. You can promote or demote members.
That's cool.
If 4 or more members are playing on the same server, they can rank up their platoon. Initially, there will only be 10 ranks, but DICE said there will be more because you need unlocks in your server browser clan system because there's not enough unlocks in the game.
Don't let Joel hear that.
Can I get a battle pack that gives me a promotion? I'd like that. I guess we're going to go ahead and make a Casual Shenanigans Gaming.
I will link you to the CSG Battlelog page.
Well, it's not out yet. Oh, wait, no, they rolled out today, actually.
Oh, Jeremiah, I'm so far ahead of you.
Okay. I don't spend a lot of time playing Battlefield, all right? Give me a break. But,
I was just waiting for that Platoon to come out. I was like, I am ready for this.
Hey, everybody, if you join the Platoon, we'll promote everybody. Everybody can be a general because that's how Battlefield treats you.
Okay, well, this is probably a bad question to ask live on the air, but is it going to be public-facing or will it be private?
Make it public-facing. Like, I'm going to play more than 10 hours of this game ever again. Invite everybody.
Shots fired.
Put everybody in. I don't care.
All right, guys. Battlelog link incoming. Go in public.
But actually join the Steam group for Casual Shenanigans Gaming. I care about that one. But I don't care about the Battlelog Platoon. Invite everybody in. I have no standards.
What I'll just do is I'll make it public, and then I'll make us like Super Excalibur General XXX to the max.
I want to be the president.
We'll be awesome.
If that's a rank. That's as high as the armed forces.
It is in Railroad. It is in Railroads.
You can be the president of America?
Actually, depending on the scenario of France, Germany, Great Britain, it's pretty sweet. I retired as prime minister.
Of what?
It was France, I believe. Got that
Why would you want to be
swag.
the prime minister of France?
Because I had made billions of dollars in the railroad industry.
Is that the best you could do? You couldn't buy some island to be the king?
That's also true. Go in public.
Rex Sauce, you're probably right. If DICE is like, hey, EA, we don't think we want to release. He said, Germ, if DICE did that, EA would execute them on the spot for asking about releasing the game a year later. That's probably true, but at the same time, that's still what should have happened. But whatever.
And it may have been that they did ask and they were just shut down at like high levels. Like, no, you do not have the option to delay.
I complain about Battlefield, but again, to be fair, I'm sure there were people the whole time going, guys, this game is not ready to go. We either have to like scale down features or we have to not release it or something. There are tons of people in that company that knew what was going on and weren't happy with it, I'm sure. But that doesn't matter if as long as there's a couple people in power that think they want to release the game because they like money more than they like integrity, that it'll suck it up.
Capitalism.
So speaking, well, no, that's a terrible segue. We'll just skip it. Deus Ex: The Fall. It was announced as a mobile game. Well, first they announced that new Deus Ex game, sequel to Human Revolution. People got super pumped. I was super pumped. I loved Human Revolution. Then they were like, it's a mobile game. And people were like, what?
Who wanted that? Who asked for that? Hey, I didn't ask for this.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that actually works. That is the same game.
What?
But yeah, they're porting the mobile game to the PC.
Oh, wait, no, it was I never asked for this, wasn't it?
Never asked. Yeah, I think so.
So
but
close.
Guys, they're porting the mobile game to PC, so it's gonna be good.
I hope it plays in like a little window.
The game has been augmented, a little Deus Ex humor there, to support keyboard, mouse, and controllers, and they've removed the in-app purchase options. There'll be no in-app purchase options. There'll be 28 Steam achievements. There'll be Steam trading cards, a revised tutorial, optimization for keyboard and mouse. It's a port. It will release March 25th. It's only $10, so that's pretty good. $10 is nice. So I was worried it's gonna be a mobile game that they were gonna charge $60 for, or $50 for, but
I can see it.
Yeah, fortunately they have not done that. But okay. Tropico 5. That's a game I really like. I don't know how many other people do. The series has never been that popular. It's a good game. It's a nice game. I like it. Tropico 5 is coming out the second quarter of this year, and the beta registration is now open. Go to Calypso's website and join the beta. I've already signed up for it. I really hope I get in. If I don't get in, and one of you wants to give me your key, that'd be nice. But yeah, the beta's opened, and I'm really excited about that because I really like the game.
Abuse of power.
What? No. I'm just saying, if there's anyone out there who's like, I accidentally applied and then I didn't even want to play it. Exactly. You get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, abuse that power. Abuse it.
Okay. Intel. This is really shifting gears. Dave, you're the only person I know who has an Intel solid state hard drive. Or solid state drive. You're pretty happy with it, as far as I know.
2 gens so far, yep.
They have skipped a couple revision cycles. They have not even tried to keep up with everybody else. But they're coming out with the 730 series. They're using an Intel controller rather than SandForce, which they used to use.
Yeah.
They're going to release 2 drives in 240 gig and 480 gig capacities, sequential reads and writes of 550 and 470 megabyte per second. And their random 4K read and write performance is pretty awesome. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know about solid state hard drives. They are actually, you don't honestly see a ton of real world improvement when you put them in RAID 0 most of the time, and that's because you can get your synthetic benchmarks will go off the roof, through the roof. Yeah, your synthetics go through the roof. But where solid state hard drives are mostly useful is not so much your synthetics, obviously, but it's your the random reads and writes of tiny little small files. That's why the 4K tests are so important. Most solid state hard drives kind of suck at that when you combine them. So what Intel is saying is they've actually optimized them for RAID 0. 2 of these drives in RAID 0, your writes will jump to 960 megabyte per second, and your reads will go to 1.073 gigs a second.
Is that a record right there?
It might be. And if you get 4 drives in RAID 0, you can hit over 1,500 megabytes per second. These drives are not going to be super cheap. But
I expect not.
But for the performance, they could be really awesome. And Intel never prices anything cheap. That's not their model, but it's worked well for them. Welcome, Scanner Barkley. Hi. Welcome to the podcast.
I didn't want to say anything until I started recording my audio.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
What's up, dude?
So I was sitting here all silent.
Did you have anything you wanted to chip in about the Battlefield 4 platoons? Because this news really took me by surprise, but apparently most other people were aware that those didn't exist yet.
What, the platoons?
Yeah, the fact that they didn't exist until today.
Oh yeah, that's been known.
I don't know how. I just assumed our Battlefield 3 platoon carried over. I never even thought to check.
Nope.
That
has been a constant. Since I actually set up mine today, we're called the Packet Lost Privateers.
I saw you tweet about that. That's really good.
It's glorious. It's glorious.
It's like I'm coming up with like a sea shanty almost about being Foursquare Corsairs and all this kind of shit.
I feel like now,
I get that reference. I
want to find all of the platoons I can and just apply for everything I can find.
Just a limit of 10.
Out. A little bit of what?
Limit of 10.
No, that's dumb.
Oh, I can only be in 10 different armies at the same time?
That's right.
That sucks.
I've applied to one called MILF Hunter. Just that, like...
You know, the devs saw that today.
That one?
The devs saw that today. They're just like, well, all those months of hard work are worth it.
We're just glad the fans feel appreciated. Yeah, so I guess this is part of their a player appreciation month. It's like, we appreciate you so much. We're going to give you back a feature you had for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and we're going to put it behind a paywall because it's premium only. Which is fucking dumb.
It's premium only?
Yeah, it's premium only.
No way.
No premium, no platoon. Fuck you.
I applied to join our platoon. I just applied to join it.
Maybe it's just creating platoons or is premium only.
Yeah, I think it is.
I hope that's not the case because I really want to be in the CSG platoon. Like, that's really going to tear me up if I can't be in it.
You're in right now, actually. I just promoted you to leader.
Wait, what are the ranks?
You're now a leader. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, there's founder and leader.
That sounds like a very unmilitary designation there. Leader. I'm a 3-star leader.
Designation in North Korea.
What? Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's the ultimate.
Yeah, is there a glorious leader option? I'd take that.
I'm going to promote myself to great leader. Oh, man. That's good stuff.
All right. Renegade X. Renegade X is what, like first-person Command and Conquer, right?
Yeah, I played
first and third.
I never played it back in the day. I'd never even heard of it until everyone started talking about it in the last couple days. But it's out now and it's free. Like, it's in beta, right? They're re-releasing it. What is it, like up-resed? It's just ported, or what is it?
The one that's out now, as far as I can tell, has nothing to do with EA in any official capacity.
Oh, this is the one. This is the first-person shooter they were talking about like a year or two ago.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of dudes made it, and I actually downloaded it and enjoyed the shit out of it, driving around in a tank with 2 giant flamethrowers on either side of it.
I downloaded it. I haven't done anything with it yet.
Oh, we're playing that. I have it installed right now.
It's a lot of fun. I know Mantis has it as well, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I played the original back in the day, and it's really unique because it really is like playing Command and Conquer in first person. You have the bases with like the health bars, and your magic repair torches repair the buildings. You heal other soldiers with your repair torch, and infantry have health bars and health like they do in the RTS games. So infantry battles take so long, so you're just like wearing down the health bar. It's very, very different, but it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
And it has all the sound effects. Dude, the sound effects.
Oh, the classic Command and Conquer ones?
Oh, I had massive flashbacks. Like, the first time I got into game and ordered a mammoth tank on GDI, you hear Eva go, "Mammoth tank is ready." And it like rolls out of the war factory, and I'm like, that's mine.
Now, so is this an officially sanctioned game, or is this really just a mod? I mean, how should we treat this?
From what I remember, it started as a mod on the original same engine as the original Renegade. But that engine was built by Westwood in the late 90s, and it's actually the same engine that was used for Command and Conquer Generals. So, like, first-person wise, that was a pretty rough engine to be using. From what I understand, they dropped that all entirely and rebuilt the entire project in its UDK, Unreal. And I think they got official like thumbs up for it. Like, it was one of those like, we can't sanction this, but we're not going to sue the pants off of you kind of things.
Yeah, I think
Maybe,
it also goes hand in hand with we can't bring out another Command and Conquer game because we want to free to play or pay to win that shit, and everybody hated it. So yeah, do this. Keep the name alive until we figure out what we're going to do with the IP.
That's what I was thinking, because they kind of like canceled their Command and Conquer free-to-play game, and then they said it's not canceled, and then we haven't heard anything about it for a couple months. So this might be their way of just like stoking the embers a little bit, so everyone's like, wow, Command and Conquer, this is surprisingly entertaining.
Did you play that Command and Conquer, the free-to-play one?
I never got into the beta. It didn't actually release.
It was fucking reskinned StarCraft.
Really? Was there a beta?
In every way. Like, I was pretty heavy into StarCraft at the time, like playing, 3 or 4 hours a day of StarCraft, and then this beta invite hits my inbox, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll fire it up. Didn't even bother reading a tutorial, just went into it, applied StarCraft knowledge, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everything was exactly like it was in StarCraft, and I remember just kind of hanging my head and going, people are gonna fucking hate this.
Was classic Command and Conquer that much different than StarCraft? The only Command and Conquer I've really played is Tiberium Wars.
Jeremiah, I will cut you. I will cut you.
What?
It was,
I played a ton of Tiberium Wars.
different.
I've never really played much StarCraft. That's why I'm asking.
It was quite different.
Okay. All right. I mean, I've played maybe like 10 minutes of StarCraft, not enough to actually know how different it is.
But in this, everything worked exactly the same way as StarCraft. It was
interesting.
Yeah, that would have been a riot. Just a huge explosion of
By a riot, you mean
rage.
angry tweeting for like a day or two, and then everyone would move on?
Somebody somewhere would have knocked over a vase of flowers and moved on with their lives.
Oh, guys, those online petitions would have just like rained down from the sky, like petitions everywhere.
Online petitions totally make a difference.
Changing the world.
You can get an official response from the White House if you have enough signatures. So I always wanted to do.
Unless it's one that they don't like and then they never reply. Remember
It's an embarrassing one.
the one that where there's a petition to turn the moon into a Death Star, and or to construct a Death Star, and every time it got enough signatures, they kept bumping up the minimum required, and of course the internet, wanting a Death Star, kept finding enough signatures, and they just didn't respond. But
bastards.
I know. I mean, because the Death Star was totally going to happen because enough people signed it.
Let's just do it. Let's just channel all the money we make from YouTube into Death Star. So
I think
it'll be about that big.
Yes, all of our money, guys. Yeah.
A death grape.
A death grape that will hover about 10 feet off the ground for a minute or two.
Oh, man.
That's about all we can fund. But no, the online White House petitions, let's just park there for a second. Some of those are so ridiculous, like what people think, like stuff that the White House has nothing to do with, and people think, well, they have to reply. It's like President Barack Obama is sitting there like refreshing the White House page, like, let's see what I can do in my free time this afternoon. Let's see if there's any petitions I can answer. I like when he got reelected, there were a bunch of petitions. Oh, and when the Affordable Care Act passed, like, and was upheld for like the 40th time in court, there were a bunch of petitions states started to secede, or people in different states started them for like their particular state to secede from America, which was amusing. Like, if you want to secede, you don't ask permission
from the federal government.
Exactly. What are they gonna say? Yeah, we totally don't mind losing out on the tax revenue. Have fun, guys. Of course they're gonna say no. You don't ask permission.
Enjoy being the new Mexico.
I think Texas is the only state. Well, they're not technically a state. They're a republic, right? I think they're the only group that like would have any shot of seceding, but their petition didn't even take off.
They're the only state in the USA that was their own country for like a significant period of time. Yeah, Texas was its own republic for a while. So,
but are they still technically a republic, or are they a state?
No, definitely not. They're I believe a state and not a commonwealth, but they are a state.
Wasn't Hawaii a sovereignty?
I don't know what the difference is. I feel like you know more about this. You're Irish and you know more about our country, apparently.
Yeah, I know that, like, I don't know, Massachusetts is a commonwealth, and
we live in a commonwealth. I don't know what the difference is between a commonwealth and an actual state.
I think it's all just names.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't ever seem to impact my life day to day.
Well, as far as Hawaii, Jeremiah, Skinner living in Great Britain knows a lot about the USA.
I love the Great Britain stuff.
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
You know that gets me angry.
Is Ireland in Great Britain?
No. We're in
No.
the British Isles geographically, but we're not.
Okay, so
in
there's the
Great
British
Britain
Isles,
politically.
there's Great Britain, and there's England. Do you know
Yeah.
the difference between all of those?
England is a country that took over most of the world because they're bastards, or at least used to be.
Right.
Great Britain is the name of their remaining union and was the name of their total union at the height of their power. And the British Isles is actually just a geographic location involving.
Okay. So the British Isles is like North America. They're
like
not,
these two islands here and lots of little islands.
So the impression I'm getting is that Ireland is not on the whole like we're part of England train.
Nah, we were, and then we weren't. Like, we were part of England for quite a while, and then we got our independence.
So were we. We really seized our independence, though. What's been taking you guys so long?
Oh,
Yeah, you seized everybody's independence. That was the problem.
America.
Monopoly on freedom that you have going on over there.
Hey, we just have so
else.
much, Scanner. We just have so much, okay?
Would you like some liberty?
We have lots of liberty, and we are just so excited to bring it to everyone else.
One bomb at a time.
One drone at a time.
Oh, relevance.
All right, more news. DayZ dev blog. They released a new dev blog showing off their physics system, lighting improvements, lootable containers like a refrigerator.
Nice.
And their bow and arrow. As far as I can tell, the bow and arrow does no damage at this point.
No. But
no, you're
physics
disagreeing,
was
or no, it doesn't do any
amazing.
damage.
Well, I think they had God mode turned on for the zombie.
Why would you ever turn God mode on for the zombies?
Like, think
death
about
mode.
it. Think about it, though. They're actually right. Unless you, like, headshot a zombie with an arrow, the zombie shouldn't even notice. Cause
That's true.
it's not going to have the, damage that a bullet has through velocity and then the little cone of air that goes through, ripping up all the innards.
No, that's true. That's very
Unless
true.
you get it in the brain. And even then, it shouldn't be able to penetrate a skull incredibly easily.
Right.
It should be hunting or for fucking with your mates, like shooting them in the ass and stuff like that,
Just winging them. It should be winging your buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
The system looked really, really impressive with the the arrows like sticking through the zombie, and then when he turned the terrain off so that you couldn't see the mesh of the terrain, and he fired an arrow at a very, very low angle, and it like skipped and then stuck in the ground. That was really cool to see. Like, they're putting some serious effort into getting the arrow physics correct. And is that ice cream, Jeremiah?
Maybe. It's
Are you
dog bar.
ice cream on the podcast, Mantis?
I'll pull my mic a little farther away. I use noise gates. You're not even going to hear this. No one else is going to hear this.
I'm seeing it though, and I am 100% jealous.
You want ice cream?
I'm gonna go get some ice cream like right now. Screw you.
I've got a delicious cake.
Oh, so hungry.
Dave,
now.
I've been to your house. I'm pretty sure your wife makes like cookies or cupcakes or a cake like every single day.
Well, that's the problem. They're like all the way in the other room though.
Oh, that's
You need
the
one
problem.
of these drones I've been hearing about. It brings you liberty and cookies.
That sounds like it was made in America right there.
Definitely.
Delivers tow missiles and cookies.
And if there's any way for drones to be more American, other than the fact that Amazon's going to use them to deliver things, we don't actually have to go to stores, is if you could get fast food delivered via drone. That would be like,
my gosh.
that's America in one, like, that's a vertical slice of America. That's America perfected.
That would be perfect.
Would be the drones or 3D printers making you fast food.
your bacon cheeseburger comes off the drone fresh.
That would be epic. Actually, now that I think about it, that would be epic. A 3D printer that's like, instead of, like the three base colors, it's got a protein cartridge, a carb cartridge, and a fats cartridge.
A fat, sugar, salt, and protein cartridges. 4 cartridges.
It'd be
could do it.
awesome.
It'd be paste, but it would be delicious.
It'd be delicious paste.
So it's pretty much McDonald's.
We all gotta get used to paste.
Why? Because that's what we're all going to be eating when the robots take over?
Yeah, pretty much. I saw it in a movie.
I saw it in a couple movies actually. I saw it in
Yeah.
Firefly.
Yeah, Firefly, The Matrix, they've all reverted to paste at one point or another.
Wait,
to,
paste and Firefly. I don't remember that.
How are we going to feed people in the future in our movie? Paste! Okay.
I do remember that in 2001 A Space Odyssey. They were eating this nasty looking paste.
The Matrix one though, that looked awful. It was like a gray oatmeal like material.
It was.
Well, when you live in a ship that drives around the middle of the earth, you kind of take what you can get.
I don't know. I'd rather starve than eat paste. I'm like, just plug me back in. Fuck
Hold it
this.
back to the steak. Oh man.
I'd be the Judas of the future, basically.
You betray everyone just so you can get plugged back into a nicer
dude, yeah,
machine.
just plug me back in.
Maybe you can get a first floor incubation tank. You know,
give me a nice view from my incubation tank and a nice place to live in instead of eating. I'd be happy out.
maybe. Well, if they're plugging you into a new machine, maybe you can just ask to be like a billionaire. You know, new you.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any reason they can't? You know, if I woke up in the Matrix, someone unplugged me, and I was like, "Wait, guys, I was a billion. Can you just put that back in, please?
Yeah.
Thank you." I was
You have
extremely
no
happy.
idea how rich I am in there.
You have no idea who I am.
You guys wake me up once we're all free, but until then, I think I'm contributing a lot more to Fantasyland. Okay, so we announced last week that we're kind of moving to a new format in the podcast where we have our main conversation offline. We're actually going to be having that conversation tomorrow in the car on a road trip. I'm going to meet Joel and Dave. And we're all going on a road trip together to
Which
shoot
sounds
some.
really weird when you just lay it out there like that.
Well,
like,
to shoot
no
some new
context.
scenes for Joel's movie.
Yeah.
To shoot some new scenes for Norman. But we're going to talk about Dean Hall leaving DayZ tomorrow in the car. But before we go tonight, the live part is going to be shorter tonight. We want to do some comments of the week because Dave has been getting some excellent, truly amazing comments on his most recent DayZ The Wanderers episode, and we just wanted to cover some of these because they're fantastic. So Dave, I'll kick it over to you.
I'm going to start with the schizophrenic comments that really just confused me. The first one from the drunk Corgi. Is it Corgi or Corgi, the dog?
Corgi.
The drunk Corgi. He says, "Why are you guys so dead? I mean, you are speaking just so there's no awkward silence, no jokes, no laughs, just military-like conversations. It gets kind of boring, but keep it up. Love these." That confused me because there is some like Arma style like base clearing in the beginning, but then there's like a entire 20-minute long section where we're initiating a new member of our group, and we make him like drink a vial of poison we found in a hospital. We're like all dancing around in a circle and like wiggling with like techno music going in the background. I'm not really sure if that counts as dead, but maybe we should just like crank it up to 11 there. Just to confuse things though, an hour later, David Parks posts, "I love the squad play militaristic talk you guys do." Like, which one is it? I'm so confused.
Why can't you all reach a consensus?
Yeah, it's either cool military talk or boring military talk. And
Let's get to the
fun.
really good comment though.
I'll save
really
the best
good
for
one.
last here. From Lincoln 2A13. He says,
Lycan, werewolf, Lycan.
oh, yep, that fits the avatar. He says, "Germ is annoying. Don't get why you have him in the series. He talks like he's in a library and has dickbag reasons for killing people." So that's today's, or I guess this week's Care Bear comment of the week.
I feel like I want to explain a little bit. Okay. As far as me being annoying, I guess that's just my personality. I can't really help you on that.
Stop being you. Cut it out.
Be a different person.
But the other stuff, why does he talk like he's in a library? For those of you who don't know, and a lot of Dave's viewers might not, I live in a camper currently. Hopefully only for like a couple more months, but I've been living this for almost 2 years.
Yeah,
And
guys,
one of the
that window dressing on his right is not by choice.
yeah, actually, there is a window. This was bunk beds originally, and then I created a desk out of it, kind of. But because I live in a camper and I'm married, once my wife goes to sleep, she goes to sleep before I do on a lot of work nights because I work from home, so I can kind of go to sleep whenever. And
Like a
she has to be up
slacker.
at and she has to be up at a respectable time. When she's asleep, I try to be quiet and stuff so she can go to sleep because it's a camper, so she's never farther than like 20 feet away from me. And it's pretty much all one room. So I try to be quiet for that reason. And that's why sometimes in some of the DayZ episodes, that's why it sounds like I'm in a library. And then as far as me having dickbag reasons for killing people, okay. That guy, Dave backed me up on this. I don't normally just mow down everyone we meet. That guy really was just like, hey, I've never shot a Mosin before. I want to shoot somebody with this. There's a dude. I'll shoot him.
And also, to be fair, he was following us. Like, we had met him, and he was, like, lagging around. So I'm like, all right, dude, just move on. Like, we're going to go this way. You go your way. And we had gone around the corner into the next building. And you watched for a minute, and about 30 seconds later, he, like, creeps around the corner following us. So that was a little weird. Not maybe murder weird, but...
But yeah, for anyone actually wondering, and I'm assuming most people don't really care one way or the other.
And that's the great part, too, is if you watch any of our other videos, we have entire episodes where we have, like, armed confrontations with, like, other groups or other survivors. And we'll go, like, 2 or 3 episodes with, like, killing nobody. And most of our kills, I would say, like, 80% of our kills so far in a standalone were after we're already engaged. Like, someone else engages us. So if you were watching this series at all, is this our first murder, actually, in the series?
No, we killed somebody the very first night. We murdered that dude for his food.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't in the Wanderers series, though. That was just, like, the second video. So, yeah, this is the first murder here in episode 12 of the entire series. So, basically, Jeremiah is a horrible person who should probably just kill himself.
Yes. Well, hey, upvote for Jeremiah killing himself. we hit 2,000 likes, guys. I'll totally do it.
Retweet.
Now, Scanner, before we go, I know you've been playing a lot of Banished.
Yes.
I've been very interested in Banished. Could you give us, like, the 2-minute rundown on Banished real quick?
After I offer this to the comments of the week.
Okay.
Which is a comment that I got on my second Assault review, and it goes like this.
That was a great review.
Scanner, do you really have to have ever map with nothing good and even? What the fuck, dude? End. So there's that. I'm gonna choke. Yeah, Banished is really good. It's like a medieval city builder where you start out with like just a couple of dudes and you gotta like build up as big as you can in your village. But it's a real like prick of a game because there's easy ways to completely screw yourself over and have built a doomed village within 20 minutes but not realize it until after 7 hours of gameplay.
Oh, that's like Cities XL.
It's awesome. It's like that mistake you made ages ago. Yeah, fuck you. That mistake.
Now, is it early access or beta or what is it right now?
No, it's out and done.
Oh, it's an actual released game on Steam.
Yes, it is.
Extremely rare these days.
I think everything I've been playing lately is all early access. So they actually no. All right. So what you're saying, Scanner, is a developer worked on a game until it was actually done before they asked the public to support it?
One developer.
Yeah, one dude. It was all done by one guy.
One man. Okay, so he's been making this for what, 10 years?
3 years, I think.
3 years. Wow.
I've been following it for almost 2 years now.
It's got a great attention to detail, and the systems are just perfect. And he's done something in it that makes things a little random. Nothing is ever quite the same as the previous attempt to build a village, and it's like, it's just so well done.
Now, is there any multiplayer or anything?
Not that I've noticed. I don't know if multiplayer would do anything because it becomes this real like personal thing.
Okay.
Like the multiplayer aspect of this game is probably Twitter. As you're there with your village and then like half of it goes on fire and a tornado is ripping through the other half and you're just on Twitter going, my beautiful village is fucked, and everyone's like, oh dude, I'm so sorry. It's like your favorite dog dies or something.
Because all your villagers have like names and lives and all too, right?
Yeah, they all just do their thing. Like you set stuff in menus and like they go off and do it, but like I had a hunter and this guy, he'd been in my village since like day one. He was the first thing I did was build a hunting lodge and make this guy a hunter, and he goes out hunting and he got the village through some incredibly tough winters, like with his hunting prowess, bringing down deer and shit. And at the age of 68 he gets like fucking mauled by a wild boar. And
As
I'm
you
like,
do.
dude, I should have retired you, but you had a hero's death. So
That's right.
I actually like paused the game for a minute and did a little minute silence across the village. Oh man, it was funny. But it's great fun. It's very addictive. Watching people trying to figure out the most optimal way to do stuff makes me chuckle on the inside, because there's no most optimal way to play this game. It's not that kind of system that he's built.
That's awesome.
It's not really a system you can game. You just kind of have to figure it out and figure out what's going to work for you.
Yeah, it's huge. It's all reactively based.
Cool. That's awesome.
I'm excited.
I only ever play real-time strategy games or like those type of city building games maybe once every 2 years, but when I get into them, I get into them hard. Like, I go down a bad rabbit trail every time that happens, so this might be the next one.
Yeah, this is definitely worth it.
Before we go, Infinity Troll asked in the comments, what do you guys think of Marx's socialism society? To which I reply, what on earth does that have to do with anything?
Relevant question.
So that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, make sure you guys, those of you who are watching live, thank you for joining us. And make sure you come in back to our channels in a couple days so you can listen to the final version, assuming that the audio we're going to record with a portable recorder in a car going down the interstate. We're going to assume that audio is going to work out. But yeah, assuming that works out, come back to the channel and listen to our thoughts on Dean Hall leaving the DayZ team.
Betrayal.
Yes, in a couple days from now. But yeah, so right now I'm kind of ending it, but we're really just transitioning to that part, which I may or may not cut off this. We'll see. If you're hearing this after the fact, I forgot to cut it all out, and so I'm sorry. But yeah, with that, guys, we will turn it over to us in the car. Okay, so as you can see, we are not actually in the car. We recorded a podcast in the car, kind of. It'll be a casual conversation. If you hear it, if we ever release it, it's very long. We really just recorded us driving here today
for 6 hours.
It's only gonna be about 4 hours though. We're gonna trim down to the best parts,
4 hours of the best parts.
So yeah, but now we are gonna talk about the main topic, which is Dean Hall is leaving DayZ.
What?
Or is he?
What?
Discuss.
Yes, he is.
What are the details, Dave? What did he say? Let's make sure we say that
Let's back up
for those
some.
that haven't heard exactly what's going on.
In June 2013, in an interview with PC Gamer, Dean Hall detailed the process of developing the DayZ Alpha and talked about the fact that he is planning what comes next after DayZ. His position at Bohemia Interactive was originally a contract position for Arma 3. Then when the mod exploded, he agreed to sell Bohemia the rights to DayZ to stay on and kind of guide the project in its initial stages to make sure that it stayed true to his initial concepts for the game. Even last year, though, he was very clear that once the game got to the point where it is feature complete and what's left is polishing, bug fixing, performance increases, all that kind of stuff, he was going to go ahead and take his leave, and he was expecting that to be at the end of 2013, as of last year. Alpha didn't hit till December 2013, so at this point, he's going to stay on until DayZ is still feature complete. That probably won't be till the end of this year, 2014. At this point, though, he's been away from his home, his family in New Zealand for what's approaching to be 2 years. What was supposed to be, a contract position for a few months has turned into selling a multi-million-dollar game, breaking some pretty impressive Steam records and all that stuff. And he really just wants to get home once his job is done. He's a programmer. He is doing some work on some of the big systems in DayZ, but the size of the DayZ team has grown exponentially since the sales numbers hit their peak of 1.5 million a week or so ago.
I don't know. I mean, it's well over 1 million.
The team is growing huge. They have new offices. He's going to stay on just long enough to make sure that, as originally intended, his original goal is seen through, and then he's going to turn it over to the rest of the team, as originally intended, for Bohemia to take care of DayZ as a product in the future.
Now, what is the news story, how it hit this past week?
The world is ending! Dean Hall has abandoned DayZ! We have been betrayed!
All right, so what happened? What happened this past week? Because Dean has been saying all of that. Now, if you follow DayZ very closely, you would Are we getting a courtesy call telling us to shut up? We probably are.
It might be for the bed.
Answer it.
Hello? Yes. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm ready. You said 803? 942
I'm not cutting this out.
5455.
Is the phone number? You might want to censor that part.
Make a note to censor the phone number.
Beep. What was that, James?
I don't know.
Dying gasp. Too much Shamrock.
Run 9
I didn't have
And that's
Shamrock.
for Jerry
I had
Chester,
Shamrock.
right? Hey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Art is happening over
You too. Have a great night. Bye.
So,
That would mean my lady color.
do you want me to censor this part so you can tell us what's going on, or can we just wait till later and talk about it afterwards?
I don't care.
Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. So, what happened this week? If you've been following DayZ's development, you would know most of that stuff about Dean Hall and everything. But most people have not been following development that closely. Honestly, I probably haven't even been following that closely. I get most of that information from Dave. You know, I follow the development of the game, but I'm not reading like every scrap of information I can find about it. I'm a fan.
And this is not all on his blog too. This is
No, this is just
which
you would
not
have
an
to
official.
You would have
thread.
to. You would have to follow all the interviews he gives. I mean, you'd have to really pay attention to the story to know all of that information.
Originally in the PC Gamer interview last June, but it has been in several interviews, even last summer.
Yeah.
No, but it is very old information.
I'm just saying that if you were following DayZ only and you just followed the website
Right.
or
You
through
wouldn't really-
official
you wouldn't
channels,
necessarily get
you might
that.
not
Sure.
see all this.
So what happened this week was he did an interview with somebody. I didn't forget.
Eurogamer.
Eurogamer.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is one of the things I hate the most about the conventional news cycle and a lot of things online is the concept of clickbait. Clickbaiting is when you take something that isn't necessarily that exciting and you put on a misleading title or image or something to want people to click on it to get ad revenue or views, and it's something that people would not ordinarily click on if you did not have this misleading information. Like the Best Vines videos where the thumbnail image is always like some woman in a bikini, or the Best Trolls and Lols videos where there's just like images of weed and stuff on it, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's tons of things like that. And then there are, now that's like the YouTube trashy side of it, but then there are news organizations that say things like, you know, cops gun a man down, yada, 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 and like they conveniently leave out the part of the, that's the headline, and then they leave out the part of the story where like someone went on this crazy rampage through town and was like killing bunches of people and the cops finally stopped them. Or they'll say, like, if Fox News during election season might run something that said, like,
how can that,
Democrats losing faith in Obama because his poll numbers dipped 0.25% or something.
how
Like,
can that even be legal? Like, I don't even understand how that can pass.
None of it's untrue.
yeah, it's not that it's untrue. It's that it's out of context. It's taking the most sensationalist slice of the information and presenting it like that is the overall arc of the story,
Well, I mean,
even if that's not always true. Sometimes those titles are accurate, but a lot of the time they're sensationalized. So what happened with this was this journalist knew, most people would not know the complete Dean Hall story. They just know about DayZ, and they've probably heard of Dean Hall as the creator, right? So he posted, Dean Hall is leaving DayZ. So that's like, you know, we had a title also like that this past week, Irrational Games laying off all of its workers. That is actually happening like now, you know, so that's a real thing. Dean Hall leaving DayZ, what it should say to be accurate is Dean Hall, as he has said for over a year and a half, will be leaving DayZ once the game is complete in a year or so. Like that, like it's not a sensationalist title. Maybe if you didn't know about it, you can still be upset about it. But it's not, but they make it sound like Dean Hall handed in his 2 weeks notice and is gone from this project. And so that's kind of my issue with it. And a lot of other people online, you know, they were worried about that because that's kind of what the title implies because there's not context. So a lot of people got really upset because they felt like Dean was leaving the project. So even when they found out that, oh, he's not leaving it right now, I think some of the upset feelings carried over. Now you guys, I think, feel a little bit differently. I think you understand the situation, and the impression I got was, before we haven't really talked about it, but the impression I got was you guys are actually still a little bit upset, you know, beyond, you understand the issue, but you are still upset about the fact that he's leaving the project. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of presented, like, would you say that's a fair assessment of the news story as it unfolded this week?
Okay.
Although it leads out some of the things that they also include in the article that...
Like, well, like what? I'm not
Such
trying to leave
as-
anything out.
Well, number one, the language of calling it...
He did say, okay, yeah, that what he said, he didn't just, he said DayZ has been like a flawed concept from the
right.
beginning, and he
Yeah.
wants to move on to try, he kind of implies he's got other ideas for games, and DayZ is never going to be what he wants it to be. I think he said that. Like, he knows he'll never be able to get DayZ to his perfect ideal of a game, so he's going to leave it in the hands of Bohemia, who owns it, and he's going to move on to try some of his other ideas once DayZ is feature complete, supposedly. Am I forgetting any other part of it? Okay, so James, would you mind starting us off here?
Well, the problems I have, number one, from
Okay.
a marketing standpoint,
Mhm.
your game just comes into alpha. It actually gets released as a standalone.
Right.
And the person who is the lead developer, the person who's... This is their brainchild. You know, I understand that he had planned to leave. Probably not the best time to announce it.
Mhm.
Number one, you could wait, honestly, until you're getting closer to that point
Yeah.
and say, I've done all I think I can do. I've given all that I think I can give out of my talents. I'm going to now leave it in their hands.
Yeah, I don't think he'd ever mentioned he was leaving since Standalone came out. Because I think Standalone,
Yeah.
like, it was a whole big new rush of DayZ fans and stuff.
Mhm.
So I think since then, this would be the first time for all those new people that they're ever hearing
yeah.
this. I think you're
Right.
right.
For brand new players, too.
From a PR standpoint,
People
this
that
was
are-
a bad time
This is
to
the first
announce
time
it.
people have actually spent money specifically on the game.
That's true.
People
This is
might
the
have
first
bought
time.
Arma for it,
Mhm.
but this is the first time that they said, okay, we really believe in this, so we're going to back it,
Right.
even though it's, you know, in a...
There's also people
somewhat
buying it
crippled
twice,
state.
too. If they bought Arma, then they're buying DayZ, too.
Well, that's me.
Right.
I bought Arma just to play DayZ, and now I've bought DayZ. So, yeah, this would be the first time. So, from a PR standpoint,
So he could have gracefully waited until it got closer to the time he was actually planning on leaving, when people didn't feel like, okay, there's a lot of things broken right now.
right.
To tie that in also to hear that it's a flawed concept.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand that, you know, people being a perfectionist, they want what they want.
Right.
You can't dictate, you know, how people are going to play your game.
Right.
And so,
It sounds bad because most people wouldn't say that about their game.
it's
You know,
just- it's just
even
that
if their
he's-
game was bad, they would say how excited they were, and
Right.
like, yeah, I mean, you could even do the EA Dice thing of like, no matter what the reality of your game is, you firmly cling to it's an awesome experience that everyone's enjoying. And he's done this numerous times, like with release dates and stuff. He's a little more honest than he is PR. Like he needs a PR person. Because when someone asks him a question, I think he has a tendency to just say what he's thinking.
Well, he's honest,
At the-
but he's very, very
he's
bad at
honest, but without
explaining his thoughts.
context and
you
grace.
can
and
say things, and I actually work in marketing and PR. You can say things in a way that you're not overstating it.
Exactly.
You don't have to say it's amazing, it's amazing, it's the best thing ever.
Right.
But he could have said, you know, I think
this
this
has been a
game.
long time
I'm really happy with the direction the game's going. I've got some more ideas. I've really, really been developing what I really perceive as the ultimate multiplayer game. So I'm looking forward to doing those projects later to realize that dream.
Mhm.
He doesn't have to say he thinks it's a flawed concept to
Yeah,
then
I agree.
promote the fact that he has better ideas coming.
Right. Yeah, well, I agree. I think it's probably is. This is the first game he's ever developed, as far as I know. Right. Like he's done mods and stuff, but as far
Yeah.
as a big game, this is the first
full
game.
game, yeah.
So it stands to reason he's probably learned a lot through this process, and he's probably thinking like, kind of getting that feeling of like, oh, now, okay, next one, I'll hit the ground running on the next one. And yeah, so what he could say is I've learned so much from doing DayZ. Like DayZ is, I think it's a wonderful game. The concept actually is pretty wonderful. I think it's an awesome concept. Then he could say, I don't think I'll ever be able to take it to the ultimate of what I'd want it to be, but I'm taking what I've learned from it, and I've got new ideas. I can apply everything I've learned from DayZ too. I think people would be like, okay, well, that makes sense.
He doesn't even have to put it on himself, though.
No, he
If
doesn't.
he doesn't feel that it's amazing, he can say, the players got a lot of good feedback from the players. 1.5 million sold. I mean, that's just more than we ever imagined.
Right.
And then talked about what his future plans.
No,
are.
he could. Yeah, he doesn't even have to say what he thinks about the game because like the numbers kind of speak for themselves.
Right.
I mean, he's got enough people that would defend him. He doesn't have to say anything. There's enough people who love DayZ that he could just say, this is my plan. I'm going to be
Speak to
leaving to
Dave,
other
he
stuff.
knows.
yeah, but and he could say that, and then people would be backing him up right and left.
Right.
He doesn't even have to defend
And
it.
I think Joel called it too. Is that Dean is honest to a fault. He speaks what he's thinking, even when it's about his own product that people are really invested in right now. And his comment about DayZ being a flawed concept is a kind of a throwback to his original concept for the game being a survival simulator inspired directly by his military training, where he was surviving in those woods in New Zealand for so long. And how he envisioned it was that the zombies were just like a small part of it, and that everyone would be like working together. And what it's become is something different, something still very, very good, I think. But he wants to go back, I think, to that original concept, rework it, add new technology, go in different directions, and keep improving on what he wants to basically create as his ideal game.
But he still can't dictate what the players actually do.
Well,
Exactly.
I think that
And
might
that's kind of the
be why he feels like it's flawed, is because he had this idea of what it was going to be.
That people are going to be.
But then when you
more
dump
about
hundreds of
survival.
thousands of people into it, they're going to play it however they see fit, and what it's turned into is a competitive multiplayer.
Survival simulator.
Yeah,
It's competitive.
It's
so
competitive.
cooperative.
It's not cooperative.
Yeah.
There is
It is
literally
more of like a Hunger Games simulator. than
Exactly.
it
you,
is.
you only cooperate with people who you can cheat. We cheat by talking to each other on Teamspeak. Like, you only communicate with people that you already trust and want to work with.
Yeah, it's not cheating. It's trust. You have
It's
established
trust. Right, but
except for when Joel's playing.
No,
Then
I mean,
gets a
but it
little
is
shaky.
cheating, and if we tried playing the game where we could only speak via in game, it'd be a lot harder. And
yeah.
you know, I mean, you'd probably be a little bit more. You'd be wary of other players, but you'd probably be. I don't know, you'd probably want to group up with more people because
More random
once
to-
you
to
find
find
someone,
friends.
they're the only person you can talk with.
Yeah, that's
we're
true.
really using it like TeamSpeak. It is completely cheating in the game.
But it's a game.
Yeah,
so
and
it's not like...
it's still a game, but I think his whatever next concept it is, it might not be a game where you can really truly do multiplayer and make it so that people only can work together. You know, like it might be something where it's just a single player game where it's all about survival and it'd be really hardcore. But since you have no one else, you're not instantly trying to stab someone else for something else.
Right. So would you agree, James, the main problem with like this aspect of it was the same problem he's had for a year and a half is Dean Hall needs a publicist who handles statements and things like that. Like he needs to be. It was different when he was making
needs
a
to double
mod.
check it.
When he was making a mod and people were interviewing him about this mod he was making, he can say whatever he wants. Who cares? But now he is the developer of a game that has sold better than a whole lot of AAA games in the past couple years. Like he's not some modder working out of his basement or something. Like he is the project lead for one of the most talked about, hyped games of the past several years. Like from a business standpoint, he really needs a publicist helping him convey the right image to the gaming world.
Well, it's part of it, but the other part is if his heart wasn't in seeing this through to the end, he probably should have gotten out before the standalone.
But do you think it isn't in seeing it through to
I
the
don't
end?
know. Well, I mean, he's going
Because if he's waiting until it's feature complete, at that point, well, how much longer should he stay after that?
Feature complete is whatever he decides is feature complete.
That's true. That is very true. Because we have no promise of what feature complete means.
And he didn't say that it will officially be beta, and what beta means is we'll have the X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, there's a loose roadmap on Bohemia's website right now, but that's actually outdated now.
But that
It's
can
just
change. They change it all the time.
Yeah. Well, the official roadmap's supposed to be out in the next few weeks, and it might have been better to actually wait till that was out before announcing this. Like, hey guys, here's the roadmap. Here's what you're getting for your investment.
Right.
I'm dedicated for this list. I'm excited about this list. But after that's done, I'm going to move on to the next thing for me.
Yeah, that's a problem with actually Steam Early Access in general, is any developer could release a really buggy alpha, get a bunch of money because it's a cool idea, and then they could say, ooh, all right, I'm ready to cash out and move on. Release a patch to fix the worst of the bugs, say, like, this game's done,
Yeah.
I'm done, and move on.
You may be
And-
screwed for the next project, but you made a bunch for this one.
Right, and you really have no recourse because you bought an early access game, and the deal with
War
early
Z,
access.
anybody?
Yeah,
Infestation
exactly.
Survivor
That's exactly
stories?
what happened with the War Z. Was they said, "Hey, here's our cool idea. Give us your money."
And there's
Lots
vehicles coming.
Yeah, there's all this stuff coming. People gave them their money. They got into trouble, and game ended. And that could Dean, like, if he feels the itch to go home earlier, right? I mean, he could decide it's feature complete early.
I mean, I don't see them just going to the War Z route and just
No, I don't think so.
screwing everybody over. But I don't know much about Bohemia's past, but they could say, we really want to get this on the shelves. We really want to get this.
That's never really been them, actually, in a bad way.
Yeah.
Well,
But
they're
I
more-
mean, for the average person listening,
Yeah.
they have no idea. It could be something.
Bohemia's
like that.
traditional.
You'll never feel like, am I actually getting the game that Dean wanted to try
That's
to
true.
make? You know?
Which you're going to doubt more because he kind of said that you're never going to.
Yeah.
You're gonna, you know.
Well, yeah. I just always thought, even from the start, like Rocket seemed like a nice guy, but he didn't seem like he had many people around him that would help sharpen his ideas.
Well, Bohemia's never been good at PR either. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
the way Arma sells. I mean, like from the graphic design, from their trailers, from promos,
they've been in their own little niche, and the people who liked them didn't care. But DayZ thrust them into a whole new spotlight.
Yeah, I mean,
that honestly,
it's not just a straight niche game. It's more of a
right. They weren't
mainstream
expecting
game.
it. They probably weren't ready for it. They let him do most of the PR work. Like, I mean, you can even see by looking at Arma 3 before they released it. They were doing like streams of some of the weapons and stuff, and it's really them just sitting down in front of a computer at their office. Like a couple guys wheel over desk chairs. They sit in front of the computer, like, "Hey guys, let's hop in here," and like they're just flying a jet around talking about, "Oh, what's that over there? Oh, that's yada yada," and like it's so not planned. It's just how they do stuff, and that's the same thing Dean would do with the.
And it probably would have worked because they didn't have many players for just regular Arma 2. You know, there was not a huge, massive where everyone's hardcore. It didn't matter. But this, it's hardcore. You got a lot of different people playing.
Yeah.
I actually have some comments here from Dean himself that he's been posting to Reddit in response to the story to kind of clarify what he was quoted as saying in the article, because some of the quotes, just taking it at face value, are a bit cold, maybe, and disappointing to some people. Actually, one random comment that I scrolled past right here that I hadn't even thought of, he actually has some upcoming visa issues because of his original short-term stay in the Czech Republic. Like, he was not planning on being there this long, but this comment right here, he's talking about that comment about DayZ being a flawed concept. And he says, "I look back on the basic design of DayZ," and that's not talking about what we're seeing here in Alpha. We're talking about when he sat down to make the mod, what he envisioned for the mod, the core concepts. "I can quite clearly identify some core aspects of that if changed and mastered, could improve the experience. But Alpha is not the time to be changing such core fundamentals of the game, but there are things you remember and discuss with people to see if they're solvable in the future." At this point, he thinks that the game as it is here in Alpha is kind of going in a direction that's good, but just different from what he had envisioned.
So I think Alpha's kind of the best time to do that.
Well, that's you wonder, like Alpha. That's probably got to be pre-alpha, if my understanding, because the term
But
alpha
they didn't
is
really
a
have
little
a
loose.
pre-alpha.
That's
They
true.
went straight from
the
mod
pre-alpha was
to-
the mod. The mod was the proof of concept.
Right, but if they didn't do it then, if you know,
Yeah.
I think
I mean, they didn't do it
I
before
think
then.
probably I'm guessing his
and that's
main.
when Bohemia wasn't.
I wonder if he just got
Intro.
really scared that people are not going to like it if he goes his route, and so he just kept it because there's too many people that already like it
I
that
think
way.
his main mess up was. You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think his main mess up was probably when he said by creating their own version of the engine, or like spinning off, the virtual reality engine 2.5 or whatever it was.
Real virtuality.
Real virtuality, yeah.
A tongue twister.
but but it's not quite Arma 3, but it's better than Arma 2's engine. Whatever their version of the engine. When he said that doing that would let them fix like all the problems with the mod, we got on board with that a little bit. That seemed to make sense, but I don't think that's the case. Like, it is becoming increasingly obvious. DayZ is never going to be that optimized. This game could never run on a console, I don't think, because consoles live and die by optimization. And I don't think this game, every time they buy themselves 5 FPS, they spend it on new features. And that's okay if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But the game, I don't think it's ever going to be a buttery smooth game. I don't think the movement controls can ever be awesome. And I think Dean is starting to see this stuff now, even if they're like ripping out a bunch of the Arma stuff they don't need and starting from the ground up on some of it. I just don't think that engine can do it. And I think he knows he's kind of written himself into a little bit of a corner.
If that's the case, then that makes the statement of,
But then,
concept even worse because the people just invested a lot of money.
But then at that point,
$30 for an early access game. That's a lot of money for.
That's
a
one of the
game
more
that you
expensive
don't know
early
if it's
access
gonna work.
games. But then at that point, like, you don't abandon the game like, okay, well, let's rebuild this thing on source. If it seems they're still optimistic every week, they're coming out with, they're fixing major issues, they're adding new features. It's not like they've stagnated at all. I mean, they're still doing tons with it. So maybe they feel like, we're still going to have issues with this, but we think we can really make something that's worth it. So let's keep going. If the game is still a year and a half out from release or a year from release, most games really suck a year before release. I mean, it's weird. It's very abnormal that we're playing the game this far from release. Wouldn't you say? I mean, that's just I mean, think about what most
if it was
AAA
a standard
games.
game, but except that
But it's not a standard game.
I mean,
You can't really
it's already
compare
ripped
it.
from the engine that was already
I mean,
working.
that's
That's
an
the thing.
insanely long alpha
It is. It is.
for mass public consumption. It's
And I think it's
just-
because there's never been a game quite like it. I think they're trying to see how far they can go with it. Like, I think if they could keep performance okay and keep stability okay and stuff, if all other things not being an issue, I think they probably would never stop adding features.
And Bohemia, from what I've heard, has a long-term plan for DayZ where we may see continued engine improvements and support like additional maps for like 4, 5, 6 years to come.
Which is what they've typically done with the Arma series. That would be par for the course for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be... Because their games kind of always have a steady trickle of sales. They never get the big giant numbers that just die out. Their fans are people... who gradually attract other people. It's a very slow process for
Now
them.
we'll get better optimization than Arma 2 and Arma 3 combined.
Actually, yeah, Joel, I was going to say, I'm going to make a prediction here that I don't think Jeremiah is 100% correct.
Okay.
I don't think that
I would love to be wrong.
I don't think that DayZ is ever going to be as smooth as, say, Battlefield 3 was at the end of its life cycle. I don't think we're going to see it quite there, but I think that DayZ is going to be the first game from Bohemia that we're going to see perform almost as good as like a AAA title while providing this totally new experience. I think it's going to come closer than any other product from them so far. I'm pretty confident in that. And the area in alpha where they're getting 10 server FPS through optimization, and then they immediately spend that on zombie respawning. That's a pretty common alpha thing. That's a trade-off that's going to keep happening as the development continues. That's pretty normal.
But at what point are the 1.5 million people? I mean, yeah, there's a hardcore niche.
That was for the first 700,000, I think, who
who
bought it
knows?
the first
Yeah,
week.
I mean, yeah, the people that. I mean, I even bought it the first week, and I don't consider myself a hardcore player, obviously. But
you were probably a little peer pressure from...
No.
It's a co-op game.
I'm surprised Joel didn't buy it for you against your will.
we tried. But what point are the people that are just? I mean, again, it's an alpha, so you have to have some expectations. But if they keep optimizing it and then spending the optimization, what point are these people going to say, okay, you know what, this game's fun, but I'm running out of things to do?
Quickly.
I'm not going to jump in every time they do an update and check out, oh, look, they've added some deer in the forest.
Well, I don't think people will. You would never know about the updates.
Yeah.
Like, you would never know what the changes were unless you're really following development. I guarantee you 1.5 million people are not following development.
I know
closely.
the Steam does at least.
Something that I think would be really important for them to do is, as soon as the loading screen goes up, they have like most games now, or some sort of news section that shows what's new in the game.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know why they like Left 4 Dead 2 does
Dude,
that. Like
the Tumblr page, the blog they posted today about what's coming up in the next experimental patch, had that in a window next to your character on the main screen.
I mean, because
Yeah.
it's an
Maybe it
MMO
is coming
now,
up
pretty
then.
much. Like
the
it's
Tumblr page, yeah.
it's a persistent thing. I mean, like Star Wars,
Well,
Knights of the Old
actually-
Republic, all those things. Like and when you log in, it shows news, the latest updates,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and you can click on the patch notes. But yeah, so you know what's coming up, or if they say, hey, March 22nd, we're big patch coming out. But I think just because so little trickles out, I mean, yeah, you get little things each week, but it's like, yay, my arm doesn't go through my body this week. That's a great patch. Can't wait to jump in and play.
Hashtag alpha things.
Well, so here's a...
Well, can
Go
I answer
ahead.
James's
Yep.
question real quick? Because actually, Dean commented on what you were saying about, like, how do you know when is a good time to, like, come back and there's, like, enough new stuff to keep you interested. He said before or maybe right at the alpha launch in December is when he said this, that his hope was that outside of the hardcore community that's been following the game since the beginning, like, April, May 2012, the people who just bought it because of all the excitement over it would play it, at least like the concept. Like, okay, I can see this is, like, a pretty cool idea. And then, like, shelve it for 3, 4, 5 months, come back and be like, whoa, they added bicycles and tents and camping and all these cool new things to do.
But that'd be like asking people, hey, you should check out Half-Life 3, but it's not finished
Well,
yet, so come back 6 months from
I'd be
now.
interested to see if they can show how many, like, if there's anyone tracking the concurrent users for it, because we don't know how many people are currently playing right now.
Steam
It
has
actually...
stats.
Yeah, it could have been bought.
Can we look them up? Can we find
Let
them?
me check.
Because it might be closer, like... Maybe they're looking at something that we haven't seen yet, and they're like, okay, we had 500,000 people playing at the same time during launch week, and now it's down to like 15, 20,000, maybe 50,000 on the weekends. So they feel like, okay, we're pretty good. When they release patches, it bounces up to a couple 100,000. Like, they might be able to see some metrics that make them feel better about it. But while Dave's looking that up, I'm sorry, you have something to say?
Well, I was going to say, if they just announced more developers being put on the project, they should really be pushing that story out, not just on their own stuff, but that should be something they're, saying, "Hey, IGN, by the way, you just did this
Right.
article on Dean leaving." I'm sure everybody will want to click on this other article about new staff at Bohemia for DayZ or something like that. I think that would be a clickable article. So, but that at least gives some confidence to the people.
Yeah.
When we're not talking about investors with capital.
Because there aren't any.
But we are talking about investors that already paid. Just like a Kickstarter. Just like, if, you have a film and...
Again, and that's the problem with early access, is because if you read any behind the scenes on that, just like with Kickstarter, they're very explicit. This is not a guarantee that you are getting a finished product. This is supposed to be you liking the concept so much that you want to play it when it's unfinished, buggy, and stuff goes wrong because you just can't wait any longer.
No, that's
and you want to be a part of development, and you want to have a dialogue with the developers.
And it's not for everybody.
And it's not supposed to be for everybody.
Yeah.
But nobody goes in with the mentality that it might not get finished.
Most people look at it like, I can play it now.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's as far as it goes.
There's the image of the game. I can play
I'm
now.
excited to watch it grow, but I have
It's
in
a
my
game
mind
pre-order. It's not
that
an
it
alpha
will
pre-order.
finish
It's like,
one
I want
day.
to play
It
this
will be
game
done.
that's out. I can play now.
Yeah.
So what do you have as far as users here?
This is actually a really cool website. I just seen this for the first time here. SteamCharts.com. DayZ is currently number 9 on Steam at 11:30 p.m. on it is still Friday, right?
Mhm.
Friday. Okay. What day is
It's been a long day.
I've been in the car for so long.
Just you guys wait. That podcast is going to be epic.
DayZ
Terrible.
currently has 17,300
Oh, I was
players.
more right than I thought.
Yeah,
And
it was
how much?
really close.
17,300
Oh, wow.
current players,
That's
and
not a lot.
its peak was only 40,000. So that's
Today?
overall over its
overall?
lifetime. So even at
So
launch,
1.5 million people bought it, and the highest traffic was 40.
40 concurrent. Yeah.
Well, I guess I wonder how that compares to other games. Well, let's look at some other stuff. Dota 2.
Can they tell unique?
Don't even bother with Dota.
Never
2.
mind,
Can
not
they
Dota
tell
2.
unique IPs?
Here we go. Rust.
Dave,
Sorry.
can they tell unique IPs?
It's by accounts, I think.
Oh, well, can they tell you how many actual individual unique accounts?
Yeah,
Not-
it should be
not
uniques.
necessarily at a given time, but people that have actually signed on since they bought it,
Total. They've actually launched the
So if
game.
you, if 105,
launched it and
1.5
signed
million
into
people,
one server.
but only like maybe 700,000 launched actually the game.
That's a good
I
question.
wonder how many people would have bought that early access and never played it. There might be some people. I know I've seen plenty of people on
Gifted
r/build a
too.
PC that are saying, or build a PC for me. They're saying these are the games I want to play, and a lot of times they say I've already bought them on Steam sales and stuff.
Yeah.
I want a computer that can play them. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's maybe 50 to 100,000 players who can't even play the game now, but they bought it when it came out because of all the hype, and they just know I'm building a computer this year. This year I'll be able to play DayZ. It wouldn't surprise me because that game.
Let me know when you see that list of specs that let you run it full 60 frames per second.
And that's
the
the
whole time.
and that's the thing is it
Can you guys even run
Made
it at 60
Hal.
frames?
run it what?
Can you run DayZ at 60 frames?
I didn't hit
think
60,
anyone
but
can.
not stable.
Well, or here's the thing. It depends.
Yeah, I mean,
If
I can
I'm
hit
not recording-
80 at some
Yeah,
random
yeah.
moment when I'm looking down at my shoes.
I would say I can consistently, in the worst cities, if I'm not recording, if there's not some bug going on, because again, it's alpha, so if a bug happens, we'll exclude that. But if I'm not recording, I can consistently stay in the 30s. But in the wilderness, yeah, it's 60 all the time if you're not recording. I mean, it's it'll dip into the high 50s, low 70s.
It's just such a high demand game for not amazing graphics.
And Dina said that he wants DayZ to be the first Bohemia game that has, and this is so unfortunate that the games on this engine are still at this point. He wants DayZ to be the first game that has true multi-core support and 64-bit, which the CPU bottleneck is what's causing the frame rate dips. If you look at your graphics card usage, the game is not GPU intensive, even with all the new textures and new items and stuff like that. It's the world objects that crush the CPU. And right now, here in Alpha, they're not focusing on optimization. They're focusing on new content, new features. So they're cramming the map full of new objects. And so the performance, every time they get a gain in performance, they're filling it full of new features. And that's going to continue until right before beta. And right when beta hits, that's when the optimization stage begins.
Which is totally
Truly.
normal, but the thing is, you just never play most games when they're in those stages.
Yeah.
It's only
feel-
abnormal that they're letting you play it.
Yeah, this is
when
something
it's
where I
broken.
think I wish they would have just waited another 6 months to release it.
I think they were
Or even,
probably.
I guess,
I think
7
they were
months.
probably worried that the fever would die off.
I'm glad they didn't. There's issues with doing it, how they've done it, but this has been a pretty successful alpha, in my opinion. the game is very stable and very fun, and a lot of people have been really enjoying it. And I think that's
Well, there's
the glitches are pretty bad right
the
now.
glitches are bad. The glitches are bad.
yeah,
But
not.
I would
not that
say
bad.
if Dean left tomorrow, I would be upset that the game wouldn't be finished because I think the concept of what DayZ could eventually be is pretty cool. I would be really bummed about that. But if I think about it, I spent $30 on standalone. I spent $20 I think to get Arma 2. I think I got it on a sale or something. I've played the game for almost 2 years now and probably 500 hours for about $50. And there's only one other game that's ever come close to that, and that was Age of Empires. Well, Age of Empires I played more than that because that's like the only game I played for years. So I would be upset, but I don't think I'd even be able to say I didn't get my money's worth. I just didn't get as much as I thought I was going to. If he left tomorrow and the project shut down, which is not happening, but if let's say those titles were correct and he was like just skipping out, you could assume that the game was development would change if that happened. I still don't think I would be upset in the long term. I would be happy that someone came up with this concept that I got to play. I would just be bummed. I don't think I'd be mad at Dean so much. I'd just be bummed it would never reach the potential of what it could.
And that's probably why people got so emotional over this. The headlines is because there's 1.5 million people who I believe the majority of them are very invested in the concept. They want DayZ to succeed, and they're truly excited about it.
But the proximity to it going alpha,
Well,
and then that article coming out, that's just,
Yeah.
It's bad timing. It's
I mean, it's just,
unfortunate
to
timing.
me,
it's bad PR.
you have to expect the people are going to be upset, even if they know the whole story. They're still going to be upset because it looks bad. It looks like, oh look, he just got paid. See ya.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
does.
looks like.
It does
I mean, I'm
look
not
like
saying that's what's going to happen.
It's happened before too.
Right.
Yeah,
Problem.
there's a precedent for even zombie survival games of the past several years. There's a precedent to take the money and run.
Yeah,
Like
people
you
been
said,
hurt once.
Dean, they don't seem like the type of studio to do that. And Dean doesn't seem like the type of guy to do that. But we don't know him. You never
Right.
know. But it doesn't. He seems like he's suffered enough to make this game happen that he's probably not going to do that. But you never know when he could just decide he's had enough and he's taking his ball and going home.
Yeah, I think there's like a give and take for now. People are just feeling like, oh, I need to be on Twitter and be in Reddit and answering all the questions with the fans. And then you see time and time again, like every last one of the developers that do that get crushed.
Well,
And they just get so depressed. I'm like, I love the way Gabe Newell does it with their games. Is like he like answers
They just
questions.
don't-
But
he
they
never
never
gets
really
crushed.
talks about the games. He
People
rarely
just
talks-
worship him. That he's
Well,
kind of an anomaly.
Yeah, but the thing is, they also don't go. I mean, they're not they're player feedback, but in very specific cases. But then they leave it alone for a long time. They
Yeah.
don't just like every single day because people get used to it. Oh, it's candy every day, and then where is it?
He just
Where's all
doesn't
this
answer
stuff?
questions. So when's Half-Life 3 coming out?
Yeah.
Well, we have a new Steam box coming out soon. It's actually going to be amazing. Let me tell you about that.
Well, here's what I'm
And
wondering.
here's a code for you too. Enjoy that. friend.
Developers
20% off any game in the store.
developers do
That's
leave
Renegade.
games before the lifespan of the game is done. Like DICE was working on Battlefield 4, like their main project leads and stuff, while Battlefield 3 was still being played by millions of people. So there is a accepted point where developers shift to their new project.
But those are AAA developers. This is
Well,
a grassroots.
I was going to ask, do you think there is an appropriate time? And if so, when would be the appropriate time for Dean to move on? Even if it was just he wants to move back home because he misses his family. Like, even if you took away the whole game development thing, when would you be okay with him leaving?
Well, it just really has to be the way he says it. Like that's really the biggest problem.
Says it
Like,
nicely.
yeah, like
Okay.
for me, I was just pissed off the way he said it. I'm like, are you not thinking? Like, dude, people watch you. Not everyone follows your freaking Twitter, your Facebook, everything to find every single detail and then piece it together. Because even the articles he said earlier, they're not all just 100%. You got to read this article,
Yeah.
then like 6 months later this article, and then you piece it all together. He needs to say, hey everyone, I've been working on this thing for the last 3.5 years. I've been modding it. We have a really awesome, solid plan for it. I've learned a lot about developing this project, a lot of things that I see as flaws, but this is going to be an awesome project. But in about 6 to 8 months, I think it's going to be really close to being finished, what I want to see done, and I'm excited to work on another project. So it's something like that.
Well, I
that
think what he
basically
would need to
keeps
explain to
excited
people,
about it.
to a lot of people, Dean Hall is
DayZ.
DayZ.
Well, it's
And what he
not
needs to explain to them is,
Dean
hey guys, I'm a programmer. And what Dean is worth is his idea. That's what's special about Dean.
Well, that's the
So he needs to explain to people, guys, once it gets to this point, I'm just like, I have nothing else to give the project. Like, I'm just another programmer. I can't make the game any better. We have awesome people that are making the game better, but honestly, they don't need me. And so this is why I'm going to leave. Like, I've given everything I have to give to the project. I can't make it any better with my involvement. So now I'm going. But I think, again, a lot of people know if Dean leaves, like, I think a lot of people see it as like it's Dean and 3 other guys sitting in a room cranking DayZ out. And
it was for a while.
Which it was for a while, but now, I'm assuming they're setting it up so when Dean leaves, there's a team of 100 people or however
But
big.
also he's leaving with
Okay.
he's also leaving and saying these comments as tiny little itty bitty patches come out where it's like, yay, my arm got fixed. It's not going through a wall, or like. I think for me it's dumb fixing. Like, yeah, it's important, but it's so far off from the game. People going, hey, I think this game is actually done, and now we can just play and enjoy it. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. I'm like, when? Okay, there's no hunting, there's no fishing, there's no building, there's no tents, there's nothing that even closely resembles what the mod had back in the day.
Yeah.
All we have is a slightly more polished DayZ with some new features and stuff, but nothing massive.
It's still a foundation at this point. It's a very, very strong foundation. Yeah. They've taken the right path by taking the time to do the non, like, ooh, wow stuff first. The new inventory, the new graphics features, the new areas on the map that they're laying the foundations for. The ooh wow stuff is coming. It's just that right now it's just the foundation stuff.
Yeah, because I mean,
that's the thing. If you don't have the ooh wow stuff ready, that makes it even worse for your. That makes it even worse for your developer to say, by the way, I'm leaving.
It's true. Bad timing.
Because I mean, like, I would easily take no more cities, just the same exact Chernarus, but the game was like really smooth. Mm-hmm. Everything worked better. Like, you could switch a weapon, your character wouldn't go like glitch around and get it
I
out.
would cut the map down to a quarter of its size. Take the northeast, southeast, whatever corner of the map, cut it down, like, so your optimization goes to the roof all of a sudden. Cut it down and get the rest of the features quicker. I'm saying, like,
take my map away.
I'd be fine with that. Like, that's
Because I mean, like, the details in the new game are like, okay, yeah, your optics can get broken. I would easily ditch that for a later update at the end of the year, but have something that works smooth.
There's
feels like a newer game.
Random things that
it's like, yay, okay.
I think they're implementing new stuff when it's the most convenient time to do it, not when it makes the most sense.
Things are compartmentalized
to us, like, because we don't understand, like, why are they dropping shotgun ammo in game? There are no shotguns for 2 weeks. I'm sure at the time it made sense. They wouldn't be like, well, let's just give them the shotgun shells because we can. Yeah, I'm sure it made sense, like,
somehow.
but it's like, why have shotguns in the game?
It makes sense to do it now, like, for development. We've got these weapon spawns coming up. This is all the ammo spawns we'll need for the first 6 months of the game. So we're going to drop all these in at the same time.
They're doing things that make sense for development, not necessarily for the public.
Which they say, like, this game is buggy. This game is, like, messed up.
There's things that don't make sense.
And Dean said, and he's, I hope people who don't want to play a buggy, messed up game, I hope they don't buy it. But the thing is, so many people are excited, they don't care.
But here's the thing. I think the problem with is that because some other games in the past have been alpha and have come out and been really good right off the bat, they don't feel like alpha. Some games just feel really well.
What do you think about
even like that was it the prison was it like I feel like
Prison Architect?
Yeah, like I played it. It felt like it was finished. Like I didn't.
Such a simple game though. That's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah, but I'm saying it wasn't that simple. I mean, there was a lot of details.
It's single player for one thing, and that's a whole different beast.
Still, but because if there's been a few, it's okay. I do a lot of weddings, right? If one guy goes out who's really amazing with a camera, shoots a wedding for $200, so many brides just think that we can do this thing with amazing glide cams and jibs for $200.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna fly to Hawaii on $200. Like, somehow get all that and then do like a 2-hour production.
Smooth alphas are the exception, not the rule, though.
Yeah, and no, that's what I mean. But I think people are getting used to some alphas actually working well.
Smooth betas are the exception.
So now you have this
Smooth
thing that's gonna
launches
last
are the exception.
Tearful 5.
Oh, Battlefield 5.
But I don't think this game is going to be even close to being finished by the end of this year. Not even close.
It'd surprise me if it was close.
Yeah, it would really surprise me if like a patch comes out and you're like, holy crap, this is smooth. This works really well.
I say that, but the rate, it is close to the end of February. We are 1/6 into the year. It's been 3 months since it launched.
That's math, people.
It's been 3 months since it launched. We have 11 months to go. 10 months to go.
So what do you guys think is feature complete for you? that you think if it ended there, or the features
Working
you'd be
vehicle
fine?
system, including maintenance and dismantling and modifying, and then a base system of some kind. They've talked about whether it's instant or not. You need to have a home base, and they've talked about doing this. So this isn't me just wishing for it.
Yeah.
So then you can fortify somewhere where you can meet up with your friends, keep stuff, yada yada yada. In-game communication system.
He was talking about underground things too, like
that was for the
Yeah,
basis.
so- yeah,
That was for the
okay.
basis. And all the survival things, like that's
so hunting, fishing.
hunting, fishing,
Archery.
bases, vehicles, fortifications, modifications,
And then,
And then the
really
game-
well done zombies too.
and really well done zombies.
With Pathfinder.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and then honestly, I think the zombies now aren't bad. If there were a lot
They're
more
bad.
of them, except for the clip, not the clipping through walls, but when they see you and like come after you, I think that part's pretty good. That's way better
how
than
they
mod.
chase
They seem like 2006 era like development.
Go back and play the
There's-
mod though.
Oh, dude, I know that. Like, they were
Okay.
terrible too, but it's just they were hard, so they were more fun.
No,
Because they were just
they're-
obsessive.
No, they were bad hard in the mod because
That's what I mean, like
they
bad.
would just
like,
come at you sideways.
Yeah, they
like
just
you
kept
couldn't
running,
hit
so it
them.
was like insane. So for that it was more fun because they would just interact with you more.
I think other than clipping through walls, like all the clipping collision stuff, I think the zombies aren't.
If the zombies randomly lurch at you, they're just like they do. You don't know when they're gonna do a jump. It's
The
not
attacks
smooth.
need to be
The
smooth.
attacks to be
Yeah.
smooth. I mean, as far as their overall AI behavior, I think them finding you, seeing you being able to lose them and stuff, all that's pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with most of that.
So at what point are they going to start working on collision stuff? Like,
Oh.
you shouldn't be clipping through walls and getting stuck. For
Zombie
20
collision or overall?
Well,
overall
you say
collision.
that in Battlefield 3, 6 months after release, I was able to accidentally glitch below whatever. What's the one map with the death corridor?
in Battlefield 3 or 4?
Yeah,
Locker-
Battlefield 3.
Locker-
Battlefield 3.
Oh.
Death Corridor.
The golden hallway, golden lights, rain, outdoor map, city street. You know what I'm talking about. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name.
the market map.
The market map.
Yeah, yeah.
I was able to accidentally glitch below that map and run around shooting people. Like, I've done it in every Grand Theft Auto
That's pretty
game.
fun.
I've glitched and fallen through the map. So I don't know if you can make a game that big where you
No,
can't
it's not-
glitch,
it's not
but there
that
is an
it's
endemic
perfect.
problem now. You can glitch through most
You
of the
glitch-
buildings in the
glitch
game.
anytime you really want to.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have they said? I
Okay.
assume when the zombie
I mean, you're talking
glitching
about
gets
features.
fixed, player glitching.
What's the
will
actual
too.
question?
The clipping
when is
through
that going to be?
everything.
When is that going to be their big focus?
Zombies? Clipping?
No, no, no.
And
like,
people.
Just in
People,
general,
yeah, you
people.
I'm assuming those are related.
Players are going to be fixed, hopefully in the next hotfix. They have 2 programmers working on that right now because people are actually glitching below the hangars right now and camping people at the airfields.
Of course they are.
Because people suck. Just generally, people suck. I hate people. Gamers are douchebags. But,
But on the plus side, if there's any hole anywhere in the game, the gamers will find it instantly, and they'll know that people are exploiting it
exactly.
instantly.
And
But I mean,
it is in
and a
hotfix.
feature choice still means all new sound effects, all new UI, all new like
Well,
menu
no,
system.
the UI is new.
No, I mean they're actually gonna add like graphics to it.
Oh,
It's still
okay,
like
okay,
the
okay.
developer
Yeah.
version.
The
Well, it's
zombie
not bad, in
clipping,
my opinion.
the reason that they didn't try to do like any kind of halfway system is because it would hurt the server performance too much. They wanted to have a carefully crafted system. I think I was talking about this earlier, where the pathing for the environment, the world,
you told us, yeah.
meshes with the pathing. That it has to be carefully, like in the Left 4 Dead games, the pathing has to be carefully laid out for the game to make use of and for it to all work together.
I mean, I don't mind zombies going through the wall. It's just
I
it's
do.
actually kind of funny.
I mind it a lot.
I might.
I
Because
just
when
don't
you go,
like
when you go
getting
hide in a
stuck.
building.
I don't like getting
I don't like them popping through.
I mean, yeah,
like,
that's annoying.
midway through the building. That's like if you're looting a barracks,
You
a
hear a
military
growl.
base, and you're all the way in the back, and you've shut the door. As far as I'm concerned, if zombies are anywhere, they could be smacking at windows or smacking at the front door. They shouldn't pop through the wall and come at you. I think that's a serious gameplay issue.
I've been hit by a zombie while on the second floor of a house, and the zombie's below me in the mesh of the house on the first floor. He like hit me like up through the ceiling.
But that's not game. That's not game breaking though. That's just really
It's annoying.
It
It's
can
just
kill-
annoying.
It's
it can kill you, but it's not game breaking.
but getting stuck in
the guy
buildings
got spent
is game
20
breaking.
minutes in the wall. Like I could see through the wall.
Yeah,
And it would
he
look
didn't-
like I
he
was
wasn't even
walking.
like running against the wall. Like he walked over this like pile of rubble
I
where
just
there's-
turned the wrong. I just
in the
turned.
apartment where the ladder goes up.
We-
He turned around and instantly he's behind the wall.
And I wonder if that's something that'll be fixed when they fix the rubber banding, which is something that's
Desync
supposed
makes
to be.
it much worse.
Because that can be you might not be able to walk through the wall, but if you're walking and then the game desyncs you 5 feet to the left, well, there's no collision once you're on the other side of the wall. Why would they have
it was
collision
that
there?
because the way I got out, it was just like ramming through a wall. And finally I
Ramming,
got
and
through.
maybe the desync happened and accidentally put you 5
Yeah.
feet farther forward. I think that is what it is, because that seems to be when it happens, is when desync is the worst. That happens more often than not, because I've gotten stuck in quite a few things. I've played enough DayZ now, like I've gotten stuck in things all over the map, and it seems to be when the desync is worse, I get stuck a lot more. So it could be as simple as if you fix the desync, you won't be rubber banding through stuff as much, and there just won't, so maybe you'll go from 10,000 glitch spots down to like the worst.
So you think they're going to
30.
get the desync and all that kind of stuff working just fine by the end of
They're
this year?
in the next experimental patch. They're working on breaking down, like I was talking about earlier in the car. Too much talk off the podcast here, guys. For Dave, talking about they want to crush the amount of bandwidth that DayZ is using, because like Arma 2 right now, this game uses like 6 times the bandwidth that other games use, and it's causing packet flood protection on a lot of people's routers, and that causes huge amounts of desync and a huge amount of server overhead. It makes it more expensive to run. You have less players on the servers, just not a good thing overall.
The servers basically, they have a never-ending queue of requests it has to handle, and you can never get the queue empty. And if the queue's empty, there's no ping. Basically no ping. When the queue fills up, ping gets worse, desync gets worse.
So my question is, all their new features, deer or whatever the crap they had for hunting, fishing, physics, like if you hit a zombie and flop down, I feel like that's just gonna be like, yeah, we got decent, like working fine. Then we had physics. Well, it's crapped again.
That's why we haven't had physics yet, is because they don't want to do that. They don't want to release it and make current problems worse. In Alpha, you do constantly want to add features, and it is going to occasionally make things worse, but you don't want to make it like, okay, now everything is totally broken.
Yeah.
A big part of the desync is actually the inventory right now. The game is checking every item in people's inventory way too often and constantly syncing it through the server way too often. And that makes it actually much worse with containers. The reason that Daniel lags us so often is because Daniel always has like 4 containers in his backpack, which has like a tree system for the inventory. So the game is like checking containers, checking inventory, checking backpacks, and then syncing that with all the players in his vicinity in his network bubble, which is all of us. So then he desyncs.
Why does it do that? I mean, you can't. It's not like you.
It's
but you can't
anti-duping.
It's not so much anti-duping. There's some code for that.
Why
but
doesn't it
it's
check
also-
just as soon as you press inventory?
Right.
It's a matter of syncing. Actually, that's what Dean's doing next. Is they're working on making it so that
It's not that why it doesn't do it now. They just haven't done that yet.
So they're going to do it more on demand than
Yeah.
just constant.
And what we should do is get 30 people all at once and press inventory. Crash!
you can do it. You can
Actually,
do it, yeah.
Actually, the Berezino bloodbath. You guys missed out on this because you were on the other side of the map.
Running.
We crashed 2 servers because we got over 30 people into Berezino
In the same network bubble, and they were all
in the
totally
same network
geared.
bubble, and everyone was geared up, and it could not handle it. The first time we thought maybe it was just a server restart, but we crashed it twice until we moved to a server that must have had
Had more overhead.
had more overhead. So that's totally a problem right now. I mean,
And
that's
what you were saying, James, that's actually the solution. Is what they're going to do is they're going to have a system where it checks your inventory, syncs it, and then waits for an update from the client that says, hey, my inventory actually changed. So when you're chugging across the map,
Well, even if you open
know.
your inventory, I mean, you're not always opening your inventory. If you run next to somebody,
oh, you guys don't always open your inventory.
I mean,
and
you
just
might
check
be
your
running.
inventory.
You're like, what's in my
even
backpack?
if it only
Inventory Tetris.
even if it only checked when you opened your inventory, even if you didn't change anything, that'd be a huge improvement from
Right.
the current system.
Which is just
So-
constant.
Right, which is just all the time.
For
Like
you, for someone else.
No. The game is always checking right now. Even if you never open
I'm
your
saying-
inventory,
I do
I don't
too.
think it's supposed to change from Dave.
the game is not checking every time you open yours. It's like,
I actually-
okay, that's a
He's
little
actually
excessive.
I actually check my inventory more often than the game's code does. I'm like, no, Daisy, don't worry. I
Dave's
got
like
this
typing messages to the server. I'm sorry, you need to catch up here. I've got.
I moved some loot
You
around.
realize
if
I
you
picked
could
up
just
that
receive-
magazine, right? Huh?
You saved it? You save it? Okay, good.
But yeah, so that is something like with a lot of things. It's not that you can say like, why haven't I fixed that yet? It's not because they can't fix it or anything. It's just they've got a big long list of why haven't they done this yet, and they're just working through them. And actually, you say they're little fixes and stuff. Most of their patches have like 30 or 40 line items of stuff, whether it's new features or bug
I don't
fixes.
mean they're. I mean, of course
They're significant.
They're big, but I'm saying noticeable ones that are just like,
Gotcha.
oh, the game's really different.
There's usually 1 or 2 noticeable features, and then a bunch of tiny little things, little fixes and stuff. But yeah, there's usually only 1 or 2. Like the first couple weeks, think about how different the game is now actually when it released. the first couple weeks,
Weather was broken 100%. For
weather was.
months.
I'm more thinking within an hour. I'm thinking about things that actually really affect gameplay. Within an hour, you and all your friends could have M4s with 200 rounds of ammo and like basically full military kits. And so it was a war zone. So what they changed was
no loot.
they moved the spawns away from the military zones, and they reduced the military spawn rate. So now most of the people you run into have axes, bats, SKS, Mosin,
The double barrel rifle. Or...
double barrel rifle, double barrel shotgun. There are very few people running around
Joel
with
has
M4s now.
fists.
There are very few M4s running around, and because you can't respawn at a military loot zone like you could before, the game actually plays way less DayZ deathmatch now. Like it plays a lot better because it's so much less convenient to go get all that stuff now. So that is significant changes. It just didn't happen overnight. They changed the spawns, then they dropped the weapon spawn rate. They added another weapon, they dropped the rate a little more, and they're just kind of evolving it. So you're right, you almost never boot it up. Like when you boot it up and there are cars all of a sudden, the game is wildly different. There hasn't been one of those yet. But if you go back and play the game, if you could play it the way it was when it first released in December, I think you would agree that it's significantly different now.
Oh yeah. Like I was telling Dave, I was like, it's stuff I can't wait to see. Like, these are like minor things, but for me, it's just like immersion breaking. But when you go like open a fence and it opens in front of you, just shoves you, slides you back away.
Yeah.
Like that annoys me. Just like open up, maybe go forward or like detect which way you're pressing the button. So open the door forward or backwards or whatever. Adding sounds and those kind of things. Or
I think that's the type of thing
Door
where
creaking would be awesome.
where they're
Open a
thinking
house and-
that animation just like isn't worth doing right now, or probably in the engine when you open a door in another game, your character is just sliding back. They just added an animation where the character steps back and stuff, so you like how it looks. They're probably thinking, okay, but zombies don't even work. Like they don't even have their animations yet, so no one cares about door opening.
The thing is, I totally understand what they have to do to make the game because it's still a year off. I mean, you
just gotta understand that, like,
you're playing
it's
their
not ready to
crazy
go.
builds that they're just working on, but I think that it's out since people are actually showing it. I just wish they would like go, okay, I think we're okay with the whole like rain's gonna make you wet stuff. Like save that for later.
What's funny is they're even doing a more responsible patching solution than Battlefield is. Does Battlefield run experimental servers?
No.
That the public can
only
play?
internally.
Okay, we all know those are worth a lot.
Yeah.
Like they're running, Bohemia is running experimental servers that anyone can join and play test the new patches, so that by the time the patches actually roll out, the patches are pretty stable. Like they don't accidentally break the game unless it's an experimental. Experimental is like alpha, like tread very carefully. And so that they're even being more responsible with that than some already released games like Battlefield. Every patch screws something up. It's like no one's talking to each other and they're just making patches and kicking them out the door as
never
fast as
happens in
possible.
But look, Jeremiah, they're adding a pontoon boat.
Really?
Yeah.
Can it drive on land?
It probably will with the patch.
I mean, that's actually kind of a cool idea, but it's not really any different than the labs.
Much more exciting is the fact that in Naval Strike, Titan mode is coming back in the form of aircraft carrier assault.
Okay, that's nice, but
I'm just saying.
Aircraft carrier's probably gonna wobble like this and just go up, flip up into the sky.
It'll make the screen shake.
you get the aircraft carrier, all you'll hear is
I might actually
laws coming towards you, MBT laws.
You know,
Can't miss that target.
Okay, just the other day, I was thinking a patch that would actually make me really want to play Battlefield. And I already said the one about if they just added raptors and dinosaurs into the map as a free DLC, like just to thank
Battlefield
people
Tarot.
for still playing the game while it's been so buggy. If they added that mode that I remember Dave played on GTA 4, where it was like Inception mode, things were just flying around. Like,
the no gravity
There was
mode.
like no gravity, and then everything had 100% friction or something like that. Like the
Negative.
Negative.
No
Oh, that's
friction,
what it is. But yeah, all the tires were just like the cars are just flying everywhere. You got to see this, Jay. It's amazing.
I think
But
Battlefield.
he had the music of Inception going, and he's just running down the streets. It's like,
Did you see
like,
the
just things flying?
Did you see the
everywhere.
Battlefield 3 mod that was someone figure out how to you could turn off all of the world lights so you were only being lit by explosions and fire
And flashlights.
and flashlights, and then you could also turn all the lights back on and you could slow down just the particle effects to like a quarter speed. So like you're flying along, you shoot something exactly and it goes like
cool.
that stuff was so
yeah.
awesome. I don't know where I'm going with that, but that'd be an awesome patch. I'd feel appreciated.
I hope DayZ doesn't fix the floating body when they die.
Because that's pretty
I
awesome.
love the little send off.
Because it's so rare when it happens, like when you get a perfect send-off nudge, but like when the person just cruises off into the great yonder. I'm never even upset
They need
when
to
that
have
happens.
flammable bow and arrow, like flammable arrows.
That was actually pretty tense. The first night we were trying to stop Dave's body from sliding down the hill so we could loot it.
We were like huddled around it, trying to stop it between a tree, and it's like vibrating a little bit. We're like trying to loot his bag. Like, look at your stuff, Dave.
My loot was trying to ascend to my body.
I must
To my
become
soul.
reconnected.
My soul and my loot were searching for each other.
No, but I think
Our
getting
loot
back
mates.
to Rocket's thing, I just feel sad that I think he's gonna leave a little bit worse memory in people's minds of just saying that kind of stuff. I think he has no idea the way people perceive him, and I mean, even with my own film, with my Kickstarter, like I couldn't imagine if I just randomly messaged people and saying, and I didn't update them on what I've been doing the whole entire time, and just be like, well, I don't really think Norman's the best idea.
I'll leave this in the hands of my crew.
Like my team's gonna see it off. I really want to work on the perfect film.
Actually,
which
that'd be
coming
almost
out
exactly
next.
a perfect analogy, except for the scale of the project.
Yeah.
Because this is like your first big movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is his first big. It is kind of like, hey, now
It's
that I've
just
got my
long.
legs to stand on because I've almost finished a game,
But
I'm gonna move.
People invested it because, number one, it was a good looking trailer.
Mhm.
But they also invested it. A lot of people invested it because they believed in Joel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the people that invest in the game that believe in
Dean, they're gonna feel
when
kind of
Dean
down.
leaves, I mean that's
That's a big
there's
deal.
that separation,
And the thing is, I mean, when I even talk about the story on the podcast or with people, I mean, I'd be really brutally honest. I wouldn't be lying or trying to explain that this story's some magical thing that I just swirled up. But like I would talk about how the story kind of changed, but how I'm really excited that I think the ending or how the story is really progressed and it's something I really like now. But people do know that, like, okay, yeah, I've learned some things. There's some shots I wish I could have done better in the start because it was a learning process. But he just skips past that and is just going, yeah, I don't think it's the best idea, and I think that is just
that's
like,
how it comes across in
yeah, that's what
writing.
It's how it comes across.
If you don't
and part of
know
that
him,
is
so.
people.
That's what
Some less than scrupulous journalists skipped the context because he has given context before.
Because someone could have bought the
And
game
he's
just
been-
like last week.
Yeah, and
Like, oh, this seems kind of
plenty
cool.
of people did.
Oh, the guy's leaving? Crap. What does that mean,
Yeah.
And I don't think he's thinking of that. I don't think he has someone to bounce it off like.
But
hey,
but
James
also
for my
you do
film.
need to put a good portion of the blame on journalists who are sensationalizing the story
Clickbaiting.
that was
Oh, yeah.
not really that sensationalist. Like if they hadn't gotten involved, way fewer people would be upset about the Dean. Like probably most of the people who found those statements would be hardcore fans who would understand what was going on. The average public wouldn't have ever even seen that. It's just like when some politician, some video leaks of them online, like cracking some slightly crude jokes at some speech they did like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Like-
behind the stage or something.
That's maybe like an unfair thing to hang them by, like, yeah, but that's, and I think you do have to put some blame on journalists who are definitely, they know what they're doing. This isn't like I really thought this was the fairest way to say this. It's hey, and this is what happened. Every single game site in the world is going to reblog this tomorrow. Say hello to 10 million hits. Thank
Exactly.
you, ad revenue. That is what they're
Right.
thinking when
I-
they say
I-
it. It's
no, I
like,
agree with
my
that.
bills are getting paid this year. So
But
we need to put a lot of blame on them, I think, because this shouldn't have been as big of a story as it was.
But I don't think the explanations have been that great.
They haven't been that
Apart from the
great.
journalists.
No,
you know?
they haven't been that great.
And
I
so-
mean, they've really never been.
They've
that
never
good.
been that great.
From his dev blogs.
Maybe the game will come out in
they're-
a month.
they're
Now,
screwed
guys,
up.
when I said a month, I didn't mean like definitely a month.
I mean, we review it in a month.
But
Then we'll decide.
all people hear is month.
Yeah, like that. I was
Go
like,
time.
yeah.
Don't say dates. Don't ever do it.
But he got better about that. He's improved a lot because he used to really suck at this.
I'm just surprised that Bohemia didn't say, "Hey, Rocket, it'd be probably good if you got some kind of PR." But I
They
guess
suck at that.
Yeah, but I guess they wouldn't notice because they suck at it as well.
They suck at that. They market the Arma series to people who don't care about
Games.
people don't care about the Arma people. It's kind of like people who play Eve. people are really into Arma. You don't care that the controls are clunky. You don't care the menus are bad. You don't care that it releases with not a whole lot of content. Like, you don't care about any of that because you want the concept. And the concept is unlike anything else you can play. It's the only place you can get it, and this is what you want, so you're okay with that.
We can get some of the concept in Fallout. I mean, they got some weird glitches too. Battlefield has glitches too.
Fallout,
So you get the
that one glitch
DayZ
like,
experience.
wasn't there that one glitch in Fallout where, like,
That's on PC.
in New Vegas,
just-
if you wore a hat on the PS3, if you wore a hat to a certain road in the town, then
Loud.
that's my phone. Your game save would corrupt. Do you remember that on the PS3?
I've had a crash where you go at a certain door and it just auto saves and it like
My foot.
puts you back.
Sorry.
No moleste.
No molest.
Going back to the questions about, the choice of headlines on the articles and the fact that the public isn't going to watch these interviews where Dean's talking to interviewers. Actually, in some cases, there's a video a few days ago from the same person that wrote that article meeting like the whole huge new team in their new offices that's taking over and joining Dean in DayZ. A lot of people don't get to see that team, but more important than the fact that he's going to leave at the end of, most likely leave at the end of the alpha cycle. He's even said that he wants to go back to his family at the end, but at the end of alpha, if the game still needs him, he's willing to continue. I think the more important thing to get from this is that there is a team behind DayZ that is working with Dean, that understands the concept, that believes in the concept, and that Dean believes in them. I've got one more quote from him here. He said, I wish that these comments he posted on Reddit after the article went viral were more spread around, because it really clarifies a lot of things. But he says here, the greatest gift I can give the project and the team is a long-term vision and culture that would survive long after I am gone. If I've done my job right, I will forever change those involved in the project. That is leadership, to grow a team to a point where they no longer need you.
Which is absolutely true.
I'm proud of the people I've worked with. I'm proud of what they are accomplishing right now. And I'm proud to say that I can already see a day when I'm not
Sorry.
And I'm proud to say that I can already see a day when I'm not needed. That's very hard for me to accept, but I know that day must come. That day is good for the project.
And that is true,
I
actually.
agree. I
in the
100%
leadership
agree
thing.
with that, and that's something
Yeah.
we talked about. Is he could have said it so much more gracefully.
Like right
And then
there.
why-
That was very graceful
Why did
right
he
there.
put that in the
but-
dev blog that came out like the next day or like a couple days later? Like I was like,
Because at the end of the day, he cares about developing the game a lot more than he
Exactly.
cares about managing his image. That's
Right,
why.
but the big but, besides Joel's, the big but is that none of that needed to be said right now. This is just not the time. No matter how good what you say.
even that, it sounds great, but it would have been better saying that in January, like
if
next
you're-
January.
If your thought is to leave,
Yeah.
you either decide to not go into standalone when it starts becoming monetized. You say, okay, I need to step off now because I can't fully commit. Or you commit. And I'm not saying that staying for a year is not a good amount of time. I mean,
His contract was actually up last May.
right, but this is
officially.
his
It is
baby.
his baby.
This
yeah.
is and there are a lot of people that are investing now. You either say I'm going to get out before it goes to alpha, or you commit to being there physically and publicly 100% until the time comes where if he had just done it, I'm really happy with the place we're at right now. I think this is a good time for me to go ahead and hand it over to the rest of the team. They're going to carry out the vision. I don't have anything else to offer at this point.
Because it would have been easier too if, say, he did that in November, where he said, "I'm going to hand it over to these guys." And at that point, he could have said, "And look what these guys have done over the last 8 months. Like this
Right.
is all them. Like I was just the idea guy. This is them now. Look how awesome
You know
they've
what?
done."
because the thing that I don't think he thought of is what when he actually leave. What he's not going to say anything then, like when he leaves.
Well, you know what would have been the better way to do it?
He'd have to do this again
he's
all over the
publicly
place.
admitted he has other projects he wants to do. The smarter thing to do would be like, "Hey guys, DayZ has released. Let me tell you about my new idea. Like, here's my next project I'm going to start working on." I think most people would not be like, "He's leaving DayZ," but they'd be like, "Oh, okay. this is the next thing he's starting
Oh,
on.
is it
Like,
because of this?
like he's finished this project. Now he's gonna go start working on this one. And I think that'd be
I wouldn't do it at this stage.
not at this stage, no. But like
But-
once the game had released,
once
then
it-
that would be more like, oh well, duh,
Once
the
it
game's
releases,
released.
you mean like in the beta or actually?
I guess it depends on how
retail?
long beta's going to be. Like if beta is
like
a month,
he's going to be
if
gone
beta's
way
a
before
month
the game is
long-
actually final. But
If beta was a month long,
I think
then
beta's
anywhere
not-
in there would be fine.
Beta's
If
gonna
beta
go for
is
another
6
year.
months long, then I would wait till like the end of beta. I'd wait till the game is gold,
Yeah.
so to speak. The game's never going gold because it's not going to be physical. But once the game goes gold, then that'd be a good opportunity to say like, hey, my work is obviously pretty much done here. I'll do a press tour for it, but then let me tell you about my next idea I'm starting to work on. And I guarantee you, he could go to any major publisher with basically any idea, and they're going to give him a stack of money to make it. Because he is one of now the most public faces in the game industry with one of the most hyped games of the past couple years. Like, everyone knows who Dean Hall is and about DayZ. So people are going to believe in his next project, whatever it is. Kind of like Notch, Marcus Pearson or whatever, from Minecraft.
do people really actually?
But what happened after he left?
Hey Dave, your phone's ringing in case you need to check on it.
It's good.
A lot of people don't like that guy.
Notch.
I mean,
Yeah.
tons of people
yeah.
love him. Minecraft's development continued,
Right,
no
but
problem.
what happened with his
His
future
next
projects?
game, it was more of a
It fell
niche
through and then he
project.
gave it away.
It was more of a niche. Yeah, it kind of gave it away.
He gave
a
the
lot of people
code out.
enjoy it, but it never really worked out. And I think that there was more issues. That wasn't just because he wasn't good at what he was doing. There were other things that went into that. But
He's not working on any other.
but my point was going to be, tons of people got excited about that project immediately after he announced it because Notch was making it, and
Yeah.
Notch was the guy who gave them Minecraft. I think it's fair to say DayZ is the biggest thing since Minecraft, like the biggest surprise in gaming since Minecraft, like the biggest surprise game that came out of nowhere, the biggest indie game
Yeah.
since Minecraft.
I don't know. I like Yuma's Revenge. No, go ahead.
That was a long sentence. Oh my gosh.
But like,
You're like,
Minecraft
serious?
isn't that old, so it's not like it's like eons ago when
Yeah,
Minecraft
yeah.
came out. There's been nothing. Minecraft was what, like 2009?
But he didn't leave it
2008, wasn't
broken.
I don't
That's I think that's most people's
Yeah.
fear that
It-
Dean's
it
gonna
was-
leave.
Minecraft-
Dean's not, it's
debatable.
not that Dean's not going to leave.
Minecraft it's so much more
Minecraft
polished now. It's got a lot more features.
Minecraft was so
but it was
simple.
workable.
Minecraft was never really that broken because it
Doesn't-
was so simple.
It
at
doesn't
the
matter.
beginning.
Even if you have a complex game, you do have more stuff to overcome, but
Yep.
you really need to overcome them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I
that's not
completely
really-
agree.
That's not an excuse.
Well, but let's not judge him on what he has or hasn't done yet. He hasn't. We'll wait till he actually leaves,
Oh,
and then
I'm
we
gonna
can judge
him on
what
what
he's
he's
done.
already said.
What do you judge? I mean, you can't
So
judge
much
like
judgment.
whether or not he will finish the game. None of us know yet. I'd like to believe he will, but you know what? Game developers have disappointed me before, so so you never know. But man, if Battlefield was driven into the ground and then DayZ, please Titanfall, I need
I
you.
And
I
Fallout
can't
4,
do
don't
this.
let us down. I always
Fallout
wonder
4's
what
never
that.
released.
Come on, Battlefield
Well,
5.
I mean, you guys heard the
Back
news
on the
from-
hit train.
You guys heard the news from Bethesda that there's no Fallout 4 at all being shown this year.
I didn't hear that. I
They
don't.
said there's no news coming in the future.
In the near
I've never really been that into
which
Fallout, so I don't
pretty
really
much
know.
means I think this entire year.
I've played like 5 hours
Hey guys,
of Fallout
is this where
3.
we banished Jeremiah from the room? Actually, for the
What? I'm allowed to not like stuff.
no, not Fallout stuff. Yes, not Fallout.
No, I mean you really have to give it a good 50 hours.
Yeah.
A good
Make
50
your
hours.
opinion.
Oh, like Dave with SimCity. Yeah, the game really sucked. I got maybe like
300
200 hours into it, and I was like, guys, I think I'm just done playing this game
Look,
now.
some people have Bitcoin mining machines. I had SimCity mining machines.
And then the train
And then the
The
trains
train
came
mining
to town.
machines.
Did you actually get out of the
Sid
vault?
Meier's Magical Virginal Adventure.
Did you get out of the vault in Fallout 3?
Yes, I got out of the vault. I wandered around. I shot a couple people. I did a couple quests. To me, honestly, the problem was like, oh great, this is Oblivion with guns. And at the point, I'd already sunken like 200 hours into Oblivion. For the same reason, I only got 20 hours into Skyrim. I was just like, I'm just not feeling this again right now. Like the Bethesda RPG experience.
Dude, play New Vegas then. Play
Is New Vegas significantly
It's
different?
really good. I think
It's a
it's
very
a better
different game.
introduction.
All right,
I think you
I
should
have
still
New
give
Vegas.
Fallout for a chance because
I bought it when it was $2.50, so I can't not try
I
it,
enjoyed
guess.
New Vegas as a game much more than Fallout 3. Although Fallout 3's environment and setting and writing was excellent, but game mechanically, New Vegas was far superior.
I think Fallout 3 is better for exploring, like actually finding like little random buildings and stuff like that. But New Vegas in general,
there was.
Did you get to the
I got to the giant apartment building in the middle of the desert.
Did you get to
and
the
Washington?
Did you get to Megaton?
I bombed a town.
That's right, you did.
I knew
you did the
5
10
hours.
penny.
I mean, it was longer than 5 hours. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't. I mean,
Yeah,
It wasn't a significant amount of time. The thing is, like, I can appreciate it in the same way I appreciate Skyrim.
I
Where,
think
like,
you should just follow the
I
main
play
quest
Skyrim and I can
sometimes.
see, like, oh my gosh, this world is so huge, so varied, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it's kind of a Bethesda RPG, and, like, once I've played enough of that, even if it's done in excellence, I just don't feel the need to play a ton more of that. But
Did you listen to the radio much?
in Fallout 3?
Yeah.
Not a ton.
Oh, that's
So that's part of the
That's how you
experience.
play the game. I mean, that's how you play the game.
How would I know that?
We are going to sit and watch you play.
Here,
gonna
I'm
make you
gonna
enjoy
do a Twitch stream.
Do that.
Because
There
everyone,
you go.
everyone's looking forward to watching some New Vegas
You're doing
streams.
it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Talk to this guy first.
But New Vegas, can we all, or are we all okay
Do
with me trying New Vegas?
Start New Vegas.
Well, let me
No,
finish.
We're not okay with you trying New Vegas.
Let me finish Max Payne 3. I probably have 2 hours left in that, so that'll take me a couple weeks to get around to that. And then I've got a lot of footage to edit, guys. I've got like 5 DayZ episodes of footage. I'll probably condense it down to like 3 if I can. I've got so much.
What would be the worst game you would that could come out as alpha, like an early alpha game?
Half-Life 3 would. It's like it's 2.5 hours of like, dude. Imagine levels are like blocked out with like white temporary shapes. You have like a few high-res characters,
And it would break every sales
like 18
record on
frames a
Steam.
second.
18 frames per second. The enemies are in like a T pose. Like they're not animated yet. They're just floating in a T
No.
pose.
You know what it should be? It should be $60 for early access to Half-Life 3,
I'd
and the
pay it.
entire game is just an overly round Gabe Newell cartoon where all you do is move him around and catch the falling money in his mouth, and that's it. And like and the game never stops. There's no score, and you can never beat it.
The saddest part is that would be the worst thing because I would want to buy it so bad.
That wouldn't crush your spirit. That would crush your soul.
Yeah, like it's just sitting there going. You see the logo, looks amazing. You buy it like nothing. You can't even barely play it. Like it just breaks instantly, and you're just like,
Get off the
what?
blister here, man.
You find it's running on the Half-Life 2 engine.
It's Arma.
Source. Shoot, they can make it look pretty good.
No, they would. We switched over to the Arma.
9 years
virtual
later,
reality
yeah,
engine.
that'd probably piss me off.
But hey, look at Titanfall. Same engine as Half-Life 2. Titanfall looks awesome.
Yeah.
More importantly, Titanfall
Half-Life
runs
3
awesome.
Half-Life 3 is gonna have to
you
blow
expect
my
them to build a
mind.
new engine with this
But
game.
Half-Life 3 needs to be the next Crysis, pretty much.
It needs to set the bar
Because
again.
Crysis was the most graphically impressive thing since Half-Life 2, and Half-Life 1 was like the most graphically impressive thing since whatever. So if they release a Half-Life 3 and it doesn't blow your mind, then they failed.
Yeah.
I just bought Half-Life 1 on the PS2. Found it.
Why would you... I've given up trying to
Because
understand.
it was like 30 cents. I want to go back and try it.
30 cents? Where was that? eBay?
GameStop has all their games.
For 30 cents?
Not maybe it was.
Well, I guess-
maybe that was like $1 or something.
I guess if they find an original
all our
PlayStation game, what are they
all
going
our
to do with
PS2
that?
games are 75% off.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in
Anyway.
mind. I'm stocking up on the classics of 10 years ago.
Hey,
I don't know if this,
Go
maybe
on.
this is the last thing we were talking about, but did you guys hear about the random? I forget what game. I think it's Wolfenstein that comes out soon. But did you hear what alpha or beta that's coming out with it?
No.
Oh, I
Doom
heard. I can't
4.
remember. Yeah, Doom 4.
Or
If you sign
but
up, if you
it's
buy
just
the
called
game,
Doom now.
you're signed up for the
Yeah.
beta.
Another
It's not-
reboot with no number on the end? Really?
I think they should remake all.
I think that's
games.
fine. I think that's fine
Just like
because
the movies.
Doom 3's story was pretty crappy. It wasn't that amazing of
Yeah,
a
it was.
game. I think it's fine.
And you
to
know, they need to come out with a new
introduce it.
Doom because they've got Unreal Engine 4.
But
It's true.
And
if you guys remember, Doom 3 came out around the same time that Half-Life 2 came out.
Wait,
So I'm just hoping
Doom's not
that
on
that
UDK?
Doom coming out.
Joel, you'll take any
I
little
will.
while.
I will take anything.
You were like him with DayZ's release.
Where's
You're like,
the
Your mom will take
guys,
anything.
Where's
you
the
don't
Half-Life 2
understand.
BFG edition?
What?
Where's the
Doom's
Half-Life 2
not,
BFG edition?
Gabe is a Gemini, and this is
Doom
the year of the
3
Gemini. I don't
Oh,
understand
yeah.
how astrology works. This is the year of the Gemini, and he will bathe in the blood of the virgins under the full moon. we've already seen it in the stone, see? And that is logically the best time for Half-Life 3 to come out.
That
He'll game it.
Okay, the games you would like to see that haven't already been shown off at E3, or that you haven't seen at all. This E3 in June.
Wait, so games that we don't know exist yet?
Don't know exist. What games do you want to see? at E3?
Half-Life 3?
Any other
Battlefront?
game?
Fallout
Well, we know
4.
Battlefront exists. Half-Life. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is most of the games I know about that I want exist. So
Okay,
it's
I mean,
very
like-
speculation.
I-
I want a new Age of Empires. I
I
want a
would
modern
love to
Age
see
of
Age of
Empires.
Empires 4.
But I don't want some stupid modern future thing. I want
like old time.
a remake of Age of Empires. Really,
That
not
would
an
be
HD re-release. I want a ground
full,
up
like,
remake.
That would
Keep
be
all the
awesome.
sound effects.
Physics
because my
and all that
childhood
kind of
needs
stuff,
to be
dude.
intact.
On the other hand, I want Sid Meier's Railroads HD edition.
It's kind
Even though the game's only 7 years old.
It's HD-ish.
Yeah, it is. That's
Except for because you get one that comes without the screen
See,
tear.
if you guys had played it, you'd know that. There was a
I want to see Red Dead 2.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude! I heard a rumor
on
about.
PC.
And yeah, I want to hear that's coming out on a platform that I own. That'd be nice.
Well, you need to buy
I doubt
something
that.
before
I
that.
doubt.
I
You might-
used
you're
to own a
probably wanna
platform
buy
that
a
would run
PS4
on,
then.
Oh,
but
yeah,
my
broke.
PS3 broke.
Hey,
Stupid
are you not going to
post
get a PS4 for Metal Gear Solid 5?
It's coming out on the PC.
Is it? I haven't
Well,
heard.
Vengeance did. Ground Zeroes is. Ground Zeroes is like the Gran Turismo 5 prologue.
Is Ground Zeroes actually coming out on PC though?
I heard it did the other day. Yeah, everything I've heard says it is. Dave, can we get some confirmation on that?
4?
Metal Gear
Resident
Solid 5
researcher.
PC release.
Everyone talked at once.
All right, I heard. I
Metal
thought I remember
Gear
hearing
Solid
about it, but
5 come out on PC, yes or no's?
I am consulting the Oracle. Slowly, one tap at a time.
That game has.
If you guys couldn't
really
tell,
amazing
any
graphics.
hotel room where 70% of the floor is beds is a nice hotel room.
I feel like we could fit one more in here.
We could fit
Wall-to-wall
2
bed.
more people in here if you think about it.
Dude,
That'd
you're
be
gonna roll.
awesome. You just get just one
Ouch.
mega bed.
Well, what happens if you start rolling over? You kind of push me, I roll over. We like all like end up on that bed.
Also, you do gymnastics in the room.
How do you say the name of this developer? Is it
Okami?
Yeah.
Wait,
No, Konami.
Konami?
Konami? Konami says Metal Gear Solid 5 on PC, quote, not a priority, but, quote, could appear sometime. Magically by itself.
Probably not then.
No,
Probably
not likely.
Okay, but well then why would Revengeance?
Because it's a different. It's not the new engine they're working on. I think
Gotcha.
I think it's Unreal or I don't know.
Shoot.
Shoot,
Yeah,
well then would I
platform
buy?
pusher.
No, you know what? I wouldn't buy a PS4 for that. I would drive to my good buddy Joel's house and we'd stay up all night and eat junk food and play it together. You know what we should do? A friend of mine, his older brother, was always a big Metal Gear Solid fan. And when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, he bought a PS3 for that game. He sat down, started playing it, did not get up until he went to the bathroom, but he did not get up until he
Thanks
beat
for
the game.
clarification.
It's a pretty long game. Dude, I
Yeah,
mean,
it was like 30 hours.
it's like watching
'Cause
six
it's not like-
long movies.
You can't speed run it, right? Because then you get to the hour and a half long cutscenes, and like there's no shortcut here. So no, I'll come play with you. Same thing with Uncharted. I mean, Chris drove to my house to play Uncharted 3. Drove from the place he lives to the place I live.
I have a feeling it's going to be hard to go back to Uncharted 4 actually from Last of Us, only because I love the gun mechanics and just the movement in Uncharted and Last of Us more than even Uncharted 4. Where Uncharted 4 is a little bit more cartoony.
You've never played Uncharted 4 because it doesn't exist yet.
I know, but I can't imagine
you're
it's going
talking
to be
about
that
you-
much different than the controls of Uncharted 3. Like
I don't know. They
it's-
can add a
it's-
lot with the new
it's gonna be
PS4
next gen.
controller.
yeah, maybe so. What was that?
The
That new
emotions.
game 1886.
The Order 1886.
That looks freaking good.
Previews say not great so far.
Really?
Apparently, it runs like garbage.
Well, I mean, whenever I don't know.
Some more
whenever-
games
it
I
looks
would like to see at E3. I would like to see a sequel to Okami,
All
which
right.
I've been pushing.
I do want
um,
to try that game.
Yeah, you do.
I want to see Zelda. Well, that's actually gonna be shown, I think.
There's another one that I really want to see.
Balloons too. Whatever.
Ice Climber 2.
Ice Climber. Why don't they do updated versions of Nintendo games like Ice Climber and stuff? They only do like the main one. Like, what's the balloon game I was playing?
Yeah,
What's it called?
because Nintendo really
Dude,
needs
I was-
to come out
okay,
with
I
more
bought the NES
games
game
about,
of,
more platformers
of
based on
Balloon.
obscure characters.
I think they could. I mean, I think an actual really good game of Ice Climber could be awesome, actually.
a really good game.
No, okay,
of Ice
come on.
Climber.
And my idea that I had like years and years and years ago pissed me off that Dean Hall actually wants to do a mountain climbing game. He said that. He wants to have where the mountain is the level. And it's just you try to get up to the top. You guys don't remember that?
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that I've had that idea forever.
Was that inspired
Ladies
by
and
him
gentlemen, he
climbing
is leaving
Everest?
DayZ to make a mountain simulator.
Make Everest the game. Well, that's ambitious.
Instead of a running simulator, it's a climbing simulator. But I imagine like you play co-op with 4 to 5 people or whatever, and you like have to work together with physics trying to figure out a way to get to the top. I think it could be a Dark Souls of mountain climbing kind of game where it's like really hardcore, and you got to do a lot of teamwork to make it to the top. You can't just like solo it.
How cool would it be if at the end of that game you like got down off the mountain and the world below is like DayZ's world? Like the apocalypse happened while you were climbing Mount Everest. Like, ah, crap. We made it. We did it. There's no one here. Oh, no.
Any other games? I want to see another Bioshock. I want to see where
good
they're
luck.
going.
Good luck.
Well, they're. I mean, Irrational. I mean,
Irrational still
2K.
2K still owns
left-
the title, but I mean, it's not.
They already have. I mean, they have plans for more Bioshock.
Hopefully, they can just rehire most of those people. Stick
There's
them on a
supposed
new
to be a
team.
Bioshock Vita game. He said that 2 E3s ago for Vita or whatever it was. The E3 Vita was first announced. Feels like a long time ago.
That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
He just been out for like 2
they
years.
came out and said, "Hey, we have a Bioshock for Vita." They said they're going to work on it. So it's like, I feel like sometimes E3 pisses me off. I feel like they can say whatever they want and just go test the waters. Does anyone want that?
Yeah.
Nope, they don't. Okay, we're not.
Of course
doing
they can. That's.
Except Nintendo.
No, Nintendo doesn't. Hey, Smash Brothers, it exists.
Well,
Nothing
no,
for
but
years.
they're not testing any waters.
That's true. There's
Yeah,
no
they're-
waters to
they say it,
test.
and then it's gonna
They're
come
like,
out.
hey, you weird people who still like us and still buy our stuff for whatever reason, we're coming out with more of that stuff you've been buying for years.
Guess what? We're gonna make Wonderful 101.
Yeah. Like what? Why?
That made me so mad.
I know. Wonderful 101. Like, I'm sorry, it's a dumb name.
Did it make you madder than Wonder Book?
Oh wow, Wonderbook. That was
Because for me,
J.K. Rowling and then the person doing it like couldn't get the wand to
someone
work.
who was planning the PS4 press event already, like when they were watching this one, was like writing notes like, "Oh hell no!" I'm like, we're not doing this. Like my E3 will be different. My E3 is all fire and vengeance.
I remember being so excited about the Star Wars game that was going to be announced.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars Connect, and then it was like. You can pick Han Solo and do a dance off with Han Solo and Boba Fett. I'm like,
Oh, man,
really?
all the
Is this
Kinect
the Star Wars?
launch all the Kinect launch games were so cringily obvious.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
come on, guys, just admit you don't have a reason
I
to make
was
this.
so let
Tech
down.
demo is
that-
the package.
I was so let down when you saw that like really like cool like Connect thing with the little kid and you're talking
Yeah, the
like,
little kid.
This is gonna
Project.
be
Was
amazing.
it called Project Natal? I think
Yeah,
it was called.
yeah.
Where it's like, and you draw a picture and hold it up to the screen. He takes the picture.
And
I'm
he's like, "Nice drawing."
This is amazing. And what it turns out being is you're standing while balls shoot your face, going.
Yeah, you smooth
And the Xbox is like, I can't see you. Step back. I was like, my living room is tiny. Xbox doesn't care.
Xbox judges your life choices.
Xbox sports, TV, sports.
You're not
Call of
upscale enough
Duty.
for me.
We're gonna go ahead and run this at 600p at 20 frames per second if that's cool with you.
Oh.
Shake your hands, monkey.
Do we want to go there?
What?
What resolution?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no argument you're gonna win here.
No. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
No, the fact that they
That
just can't get
The
over
Xbox One is not powerful enough.
Yeah.
That was the problem. They decided they wanted to make a profit off this hardware instead of selling it at a massive loss like they did in the last generation. The only reason the last generation of consoles, like you couldn't build a PC for $500 or $600 to perform similar, because that was not $600 of parts. That was like $800 of parts wholesale. Like, so that's why the graphics were so much better than anything else at the time, because that's like a $1,000 gaming computer at the time. But they were like, we'll sell them at a loss. Who wouldn't buy the sequel to the PS2? As it turns out, a lot of people wouldn't buy that.
Well, they made a lot of bad decisions.
Oh, they did. But I'm saying, like, they kind of like, we can sell at a loss, we'll make it back up with the games. And it turned out to be 4 years later, okay, guys, we're no longer losing money. You know, you can take all your hands off the chopping block.
Yeah.
So this time they were like, let's try not to lose money from day one this time.
But let's
And-
include a camera that most people don't really care
Yeah.
about.
and then a charge
Because
a
they
whole
can move their
$100
stuff
more.
on the screen.
So you're paying $100 more for a system that can't keep up with the PS4.
Yeah.
That is what sucks. Like I have a PS4 and the camera, and I only spent $460. So I haven't even spent.
And what do you do with the camera now?
Plays the game where you're like,
No. I sign on and like for the Ustream and stuff, it does the cool little camera thing, so I can talk with people or whatever.
they can see each other.
That feels, as soon as my shadow play Twitch stream starts, that I immediately turn the camera off. Who on earth wants to stare? It's always like every time you see some stream, I hate it.
No, it's more
people
like,
ruin
if
DayZ.
we were both
it's the
playing
DayZ
him, that
streamers.
would
The
be
DayZ
awesome.
streamers are the worst because like they've green screened themselves out because Oshi did it. No offense, Oshi, if you listen to this, you were like one of the first people to do it, and it looks pretty good. But it's usually some guy staring off camera, like squished into the corner. You can see the bad green screen around him, and most of the time he's just sitting there barely moving with the headset on. Every once in a while he goes, "Whoa!" and then there's just a chat rolling in the side with like all of his. Like for some reason you need to take up 80% of the side of your screen, and then every time someone subscribes, it's like, "Awesome! Somebody gave you money." When you're in the middle of talking to somebody like in game, it's just it's like an MMO.
It'll be nice if you're playing a game together and you can see the other person you're playing with, like an actual friend. I think that'd be actually really because you can see people's reaction. I think that'd be really.
It was not necessary.
It wasn't.
The one benefit is that the way it tracks the controllers and where you're sitting and stuff. But that's novelty.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I
But
think
Joel
it's
doesn't
gonna be cool.
buy
I'm
based
saying it's
on
gonna be
necessity.
I'm saying it's gonna be cool down the road. Like when James has a PS4 and we're both playing Fallout 4 at the same time because it's not a co-op game, but we're gonna play it anyways. Like it's co-op, we're gonna laugh at each other and look at. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna work really well.
So my very last thing, and then we're actually gonna wind this down because with
podcast ever.
yeah, we're at an hour and 30 minutes here plus what we
40
did.
minutes at home.
Oh yeah.
Plus 4 hours in the car. This is gonna be a
That'll be a
9-hour
separate episode.
podcast.
That'll be a separate episode.
But
But
you guys don't
so
talk.
Oculus Rift, especially the new Crystal Cove version of it, like their new updated version of their prototype. Everyone who's tried it says, guys, this is it. Like virtual reality is happening this time. Very jaded games journalists come out of like those tech previews, like doing dogfighting previews, just basically slobbering, trying to get in line to buy one. Sony says they're working on a VR headset that's just as good. Do you think there is any chance that's true? That it's as good as Oculus Rift, and that they're going to release it, and the PlayStation will be able to drive it?
Well, the rumors is they were actually going to try to show it off actually at E3 last year when the PS4, but they decided to hold it back. I think. To
I mean, they
prove it.
scrapped 3D because no one wanted it.
Yeah, I think, which is pretty amazing that they did that. I was impressed that they didn't talk about that crap.
So what makes you think like 3D's gone?
Because
it's not a crazy step
but
that's
it's-
unnecessary. Virtual reality, like,
No, but I think that's really different though.
and it's bad if they can't. They're gonna have a problem. I think the biggest problem
It's
with
a lot of R&D.
the biggest problem with the early version of Oculus Rift was you have to drive 2 screens simultaneously. They could only drive 720p screens. Now they're driving 2 1080 screens on the Crystal Cove prototype. 2 1080 displays.
Yeah.
Your computer has to be able to handle that.
I don't think it's necessary. That close to your eyes.
Well, no, people said there was a screen door effect with 720p screens. You could see the
Yeah,
pixels.
that's what a lot of people.
And people
said
say
too.
with
I think
1080
1080 is gonna be fine.
is really not, like, you really can't tell. And but the
Nice.
thing is, can a PS4 drive 2 1080 screens?
I don't know.
Most of the time, it can't drive one.
I think they're going to need a lot more development on it.
The
They're going to
Xbox
want to
One
push it.
can.
So
I think they could probably do it with a lot of development behind it, but it probably might be like a 900p thing. I wager.
if
it's
that,
gonna be
2
less.
screens though, 2 screens simultaneously, and some of the content on them is shared, but I don't know. Anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap the podcast down. Follow us online as usual at Casual Shenanigans, at Evil Viking, at Germ Gaming. Don't care. Casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show. Please go like and rate us on iTunes. Give us love in any form, like any way you see us on the internet.
Any form.
Any form. These guys can be helpful with that, actually, so we don't want to cast them to the side too quickly.
What, to give you guys love?
No, for other people, like, you can be love
Oh,
receptacles.
Okay.
I mean, love receptacle.
What's not the
That's what you have
sexiest
your mom
name?
for.
Joel is a great love receptacle.
Anyway, point being, thank you guys for
As a blend down
listening
the
and
text.
watching, and we will see you all next time.
Stay casual.